You're about to watch Rockin Robbie live. Bunker down and see you on the other side.
Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. Welcome in fact to Rockin Robbie Live. I am your host, Rockin Robbie Bills, and we are back at it. That's right, Rockin Robbie Live, the show where we gather on Sunday nights and talk about comics, movies, pop culture, and a whole lot more. We got a great show planned for you tonight, including the DC sneak peek. Believe it or not, DC's releasing books this week. I've read them. I'm going to share my thoughts on them. We're going to be talking about a new slasher film that came out a couple weeks ago called In a Violent Nature. I'm going to give you a non-spoiler review of that. It's already been out in theaters. It's hitting Shudder. I just have to talk about it. We will be talking about the latest attempt by Taco Bell to give us something novel and exciting. And do they succeed or do they fail? We'll find out. Then Marvel in the 90s, show and tell, and of course the Actionfest 2024 reveal is tonight. I will be revealing the lineup for PCP Actionfest 2024 over on PCP Movie Night, the show we do on Monday nights where we gather and talk about movies. So thank you all so much for joining us. I know it's been a couple weeks, but we're back at it. We're ready to go. It's going to be a fantastic show, but this show, even though we have a grand plan, some may call it, it is driven, fueled, if you will, by your questions, your thoughts, your comments, and your concerns. So get them in right now. What do you want to chat about? Let us know, and I'll go through the chat here in just a little bit. But before that, I do want to point out that we are still in the midst of Cruise Choice. So join us tomorrow night on PCP Movie Night at 8 p.m. Central Time as we do Hammer Time Whole Shoes Pick, Oblivion. I had never seen this movie before. I rather enjoyed it, and I'm very excited to have a conversation about that tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Now, recently we have hit 20,000 subscribers here on the channel, and I did mention that tonight we would be giving the details of the 20K giveaway. So here are the details of the 20K giveaway. Every video that we release this week is part of the giveaway. Whether it's the weekly comic book review, whether it's the weekly pop culture wrap-up, or live streams like PCP Movie Night, or live streams like the Rex and the Amy and the Robbie show, or even the show tonight. This is what we're doing. Every video that we release this week, including Image in the 90s, which is going to drop, including the cut out In a Violent Nature movie review, which will be dropping tomorrow morning, including our top-down, bottoms-up on Iron Man #1 from Heroes Reborn, all of those videos. All you got to do is like and comment on those videos. You can do that once per video. You can comment one time. That gives you one entry. You're allowed as many entries as videos as we released this week. So the videos, of course, will be tonight's Rockin Robbie Live, and it involves a comment, not a comment in the chat, but a comment in the comment section, right? So comment on this video. Comment on the In a Violent Nature movie review tomorrow. Comment on the Oblivion PCP movie night tomorrow night. Comment on the weekly comic book review Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. Comment on the top-down, bottoms-up Heroes Reborn Iron Man video on Thursday. Comment on the Amy, Rex, and Robbie show on Friday. Comment on the Pop Culture Wrap-Up on Saturday. That's as many entries, that's the word, entries as you can get in the 20K giveaway. We're going to be giving a massive mystery box out, a PCP mystery box, but this one's going to be packed to the brim, and it will include, but will not be limited to, the entirety of Avengers Twilight, which has been one of the absolute best from top to bottom Marvel books in a long time. I really, really enjoyed this book, and here's your chance to get every single issue provided by Marvel Comics. That's going to be part of the giveaway. Also, this trade paperback of Hulk Grand Design by Jim Rugg. Now, this is not the Treasury oversized edition that is out of print, but they just came out with this regular standard-sized trade paperback. This will be part of the giveaway, and included in this will be a signed bookmark from our cartoonist, Jim Rugg. So you get a Jim Rugg signature, you get the Hulk Grand Design, you get Avengers Twilight, the complete series from Marvel, and you get a whole lot of other stuff. That's our 20K giveaway. We will be announcing the winner next week on Rockin Robbie Live. So let me recap that real quick. All you got to do is like and comment on any video that we release this week, starting with this video right here. You got to comment on it. Comment on this video, the videos tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday night, we'll throw them all together, we'll jangle them up, and we'll pull a winner. We are limiting it, though, to U.S. only. Unfortunately, international shipping rates are ridiculous, and this is going to be a very hefty mystery box. You will not want to miss this. So 20,000 subscribers. We really do appreciate it. So station, everybody. Pop, pop, boom. Give yourself a pat on the back. That's what we're doing. Now, tonight we are mentioning, or revealing, I should say, the Actionfest 2024 lineup. Now, the best thing about Actionfest, where we talk about some really banging-ass action movies, the best thing about it is that means we are getting closer and closer to Horrorfest. That's right. The Horrorfest lineup has been officially finalized. It has been sent out to the first panelists, and we got a great Horrorfest shaping up. Dylan's Horror Show will be a part of it. Blood Splatter Chatter will be a part of it. 3 channels where it's going to be bigger and better than ever, and it all starts August 19th here on Pop Culture Philosophers for PCP Movie Night. All right. We do have some sad news to talk about. Our friend Benny Porter, a.k.a. Comicstorian, it was announced earlier this week that he has in fact passed away in an unfortunate accident. This was revealed on X by his wife. I didn't know Benny super well, but I had worked with Benny, right? So one time, Jim Mint Collectibles, our good homie over there, invited me to join them for their Loki TV series review, right? So we were going through season 1 of Loki as it was airing, and Benny was a part of that. Now, Comicstorian was he was the biggest comic book channel here on YouTube, right? And for someone that big, he literally had millions of subscribers, right? Like probably almost 1 billion views on YouTube. A huge success, right? There is no reason why he had to fuck around with a channel like Jim Mint Collectibles or Comic Tom 101 or Pressable Defects or Pop Culture Philosophers or Very Gary Comics or anybody else who was involved in those streams. But he did. And not only that, he intentionally shared those streams on his platform, on his giant channel, and was nothing but gracious and awesome and super cool. My limited interactions with Benny were amazing. He really helped me realize that you could still be successful on YouTube, in particular comics YouTube, but you could be successful in YouTube, right? He wasn't just one of the most successful comic book YouTubers. He was one of the most successful YouTubers, period. His videos reached a wide audience that most of us could only dare dream, right? He had a way of taking these stories that we grew up with, these stories that we love, these stories that we cherish, these characters that we honor and owe so much of our lives to. He found a way to deliver that information in a very entertaining and positive way to more people than most people here in Comic Books YouTube. He was a super stand-up guy. He had nothing but nice interactions with me and everybody else on those panels. I never got to meet him in person, and that is something that I will regret for the rest of my life. So it's a truly tragic loss. Another one gone too soon. So everybody, let's take a moment of silence for Benny, a.k.a. Comicstorian. All right, everybody, back to the show because we are going to continue on. That's what we do. That's what he would do, right? 100%. All right. So everybody, follow Facebook on Pop Culture Philosophers. Follow Pop Culture Philosophers on Facebook and on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, join the PCP Army. That's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can follow me on X at the Rockin Robbie. You can find podcasts and more at popculturephilosophers.com, and you can support the channel over at patreon.com/PCP, like these fine PCP patrons right there, or with the super chat, which will trigger a Joker video and possibly a Hellboy song. It will trigger a Hellboy song. Anyway, all the super chats, all the Patreon love, thank you so much. You help keep the lights on here in the PCP studios, and we could not be more thankful and humbled and grateful for you. You make this community worthwhile. But all we really need to support us is a like, a share, a subscribe. Let people know that this is the most happening place to be on YouTube on Sunday night. And by the way, happy Father's Day to every single father out there. Now, once again, tomorrow night, PCP Movie Night, the penultimate episode of Crew's Choice is Hammer Time Holshoe's pick of a Tom Cruise movie. He picked Oblivion. It's a sci-fi film that came out in like 2013 or something, I believe. I had never missed it. Went under my radar. It came and went. I am very glad that he picked this movie. I'm very, very excited to talk about this tomorrow night on PCP Movie Night. All right, y'all. Let's take a look at the chat and see what y'all want to chat about. Any questions, thoughts, or comments, or concerns, get them in right now. And while you're doing that, it's time for your official First Five. All right, let's try this again. All right, we're going through the Marvel Masterpieces by Joe Jusko. We are at the very last 10 cards, and let's go ahead and kick it off with card number 91. It's The Thing. Everybody from back in the day will remember this card very fondly. Once again, the Marvel Masterpieces are amazing. Great bios on the back, great information about the first appearance, and all other kind of information, and a cover of their first appearance or their first cover appearance. Then we've got Thor. We got the super close-up of The Thing, and we got a nice shot of Thor with Asgard in the background and the Bifrost in the foreground. Then we've got Wonder Man. I remember getting this card and just being like, what? Like, I didn't want this card when I was a kid, but I had to have this card. But then they did that ForceWorks #1 with the death of Wonder Man yet again. So that's a super, super freaking cool card. I actually really like that one. Then we've got Wolverine. Now, I remember being a kid and loving that this was Wolverine without the mask on, but I know some people back then and people even today still complain that Joe Jusko did not draw these with Wolverine with the mask on, but you know what? Screw that. It's still a dope-ass card. By the way, it says here his first appearance is Incredible Hulk 180. Now, it shows 181 because that's his first cover appearance, but I'm just saying official to Marvel Masterpieces 92 is 180. So there you go. And then we got White Queen rounding it out. A sexy-ass White Queen showing that thigh. You know us. We love nice guys and thick thighs. That's what we do around here. Anyway, White Queen. And that's going to wrap up the first 5. But we got to pick a winner. Out of all of these cards, my favorite is that Wolverine. Damn everybody who doesn't like it without the mask. I think this is awesome, and I always wanted a Wolverine figure from Toy Biz back in the day that was in that costume, the tiger stripe costume, without the mask. We never really got that. We did have Wolverine 3, which is the action figure that I've bought so many times because it's the same fucking arm that always breaks. However, that's what we're going to do, and then we'll compare it with the winner in the final 5. But that has been your very own and official First 5. All right, let's take a look at the chat, see what's going on, see who's in the building. We got GT Key Comic in the house. The artist formerly known as Jesse Say What with a station. The name changes with an Ola. We got American Demon in the house, American Demon Comics right now. They got a comic book that's being launched on Kickstarter. You'll find out more about that in a little bit. All right, Billy's in the house. Robbie's looking jacked. Yo, you got to be hitting the deadlifts. Not hitting the deadlifts, but I am walking a lot, paying attention to what I'm eating, not drinking beer, smoking more weed, less alcohol. So I've been feeling pretty good these last 2 weeks, man. Who would have thought, right? But anyway, you're looking good too, Billy. All right, James in the house with a station to the PCP Nation. A pop to the boom. Hell yeah. We got William in the house with a station. Twitch, my man. Robbie, you get a Cheez-It Tostada yet from Taco Bell? Yes, I did, and I got the Cheez-It Crunchwrap Supreme. We'll be talking about that a little bit later on. I got some thoughts. Billy Powermax says, Oblivion is a freaking masterpiece. Throwback when sci-fi movies were lighter in color theme instead of darker. I tell you what, I really enjoyed that movie. It's going to be a really cool conversation tomorrow night on PCP Movie Night. Hope to see you there in the chat, Billy. Hydrosylum Comics is in the house. Hopefully I did it right, but made sure to hit all those nominations. Someone's going to have to get a bigger shelf. Well, we'll truly hope so. We'll be addressing what Jay at Hydra Asylum Comics is talking about here in just a moment. Dean Pool is in the house. Party. What is up, everybody? Rogue Collecting's in the house. Benja. How you doing? Excited to see you here. Nathan Blackwolf. Dude, did you see the Bruticus on the number 10, 1 in 10 cover of Transformers? Bruh, you know I did. And if you read issue number 10, I don't know if we're going to get Bruticus anytime soon. The name changes. Comment. Damn, I live in Canada. Bruh, it's fine. Name changes. I'll tell you what. U.S. and Canada. Fuck it. Let's just allow Canada in. Let's do it. Why not? Why not? You know what? On behalf of all my fellow Americans, we do not hold any grudges about the War of 1812. So 100% Canadians, sure, you're welcome to. You're welcome to. I'll just see if I can get people to help me swallow that shipping cost. Billy Powermax says, warning, the last mystery box I got from Robbie had moldy tacos, used underwear, and an issue of Punisher number 12 by Jason Aaron. Billy, I don't understand the complaint. What's wrong with that? Eddie is in the house. Station, everyone. Hope everybody had a banging week. I hope you had a banging week, Eddie. I had a really, really solid week. I actually have been off of work since Wednesday afternoon, which is a rarity, right? Now, unfortunately, I didn't get to go to Heroes Con. Just the crew I was with, something happened to each and every single one of us to set us back. Some people were dealing with surgeries. Some people were dealing with breakups. Some people were dealing with car trouble. That was me. And it just kind of set us back, and we weren't able to make it happen this year. Plus, with the Amortex bit, we wanted to launch the Amortex Ash Can at Heroes Con. However, my partner in Amortex, Kevin, he's working on another project right now, and our deal was this. when a paying gig comes up, you do that, brother, because we're not making any money off of Immortex, and we want to really launch it right. So our plan right now is to launch the Ashcan next year. So a lot of our plans have been delayed out a year, but I think it's going to be better for the project. Still, most of the art for issue 1 is done and completed. All of it is laid out and broken down. The script is done for the first quarter of the issue, but that can be tweaked, because after I wrote that script, a few weeks later, I watched Legend for Crew's Choice, Joe Corallo's pick, and I was like, fuck, did I rip off some shit from Legend? So I need to rewrite some things. So anyway, it's going to be for the best, but I wasn't at Heroes Con, and I'm not saying I was avoiding social media this weekend because I didn't want to get FOMO about not being at Heroes Con, but I was avoiding social media this weekend, so I didn't get FOMO at not being at Heroes Con, because even though I had the days set aside to be off, I hit a point at work a few weeks ago where I kind of lost it, kind of snapped, kind of had a little bit of a breakdown. Just my breakdowns involve screaming and cursing and yelling, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take that weekend off and enjoy myself and actually do some self-care and take care of myself and do some nice things. And I had a really, really good time. I had a little bit of a mystical experience on Wednesday night. We'll probably talk about that on the next Teen Dog Shades night. Then Thursday, I did something I never get to do because I'm always working, is I got to go and surprise my girlfriend while she was at work and snatch her out of work. And I brought her some blueberries. I snatched her out of work. We drove around. We bought some jewelry and got her, I bought her a ring and just kind of had a nice time. Took her out to lunch and just spent some nice quality time together, surprising her. I never get to do that, so that was cool. Friday, got to hang out with my girlfriend and my super good buddy Clayton, and I finally watched Beau is Afraid. Also, my girlfriend was in a really gnarly car accident, and thank the gods, she's pretty much unscathed. So that was a little scary, but probably way more scary for her, I'm sure. But she was in a pretty bad accident and managed to get out. Car did not, but she is 100% fine. So that was awesome. So we celebrated by having a couple shots of tequila and watching Beau is Afraid, which is a really fucking weird movie, y'all. A really weird movie. Now, I'm a huge fan of Ari Aster's work. He's done 2 movies before, right? Hereditary and Midsommar. By the way, Hereditary was just covered on DHS last night, Dylan's Horror Show, so check it out. So I love those movies. Beau is Afraid is way different, but even more ambitious, I think. I think I loved it. Do I fully understand it? No, but I think I got a good idea what's going on. I don't want to really spoil anything. It's 3 hours. It's long. It's weird. It's one of those movies where every 5 minutes, me or her would just look at each other and go, what the fuck is that? What is going on? Such a weird fucking movie. Did not do very well, critically or commercially, and I understand why. I think the movie is a little bit challenging, but I also think it's relatively simple, and Parker Posey's in it, and I was not ready for Parker Posey to be in it as much as she was. She's in it for a very brief amount of time, but she's all up in it. If you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying. And I'm a huge Parker Posey fan. And I found myself like, is it hot in here? I know it's Alabama heat in the summer, but it's pretty hot in here. What's crazy, it's not even fucking summer yet. Summer officially starts this week with the solstice. So happy solstice, everybody. So anyway, there you go. So anyway, where were we? Kitten Puke, total bummer. I used to go to his channel and settle nerd fights. Great channel. R.I.P. Benny, says Rogue Collecting. Winter Soul says R.I.P. Yep. It was a shock. R.I.P. Benny says the name changes. Yeah, it was a shock. I was very surprised to hear about that. Dynamite is in the house. Station. Twitch says, Happy Dad Day to those with a weak pullout game. My pullout game is strong, but I am a cat dad, so y'all can tell me Happy Cat Father's Day if you want. I got a new cat in the apartment now. Her name is Prudence. She is hissing at Ariel at every opportunity. Ariel's just like, whatever, and just kind of keeping off on her own. And Prudence has been adapting pretty well. Prudence is my girlfriend's cat who needs a place to stay for a while. And sorry, you're not getting her back. Just so you know. My cat now. Prove it was your cat. In regards to the first 5, Inja Binja says her favorite was Wolverine and White Queen. American Demon, nice guys and thick thighs. Oh my God. D-Strat with a what's up, everybody? How you doing? I think this was a rehash of last week's first 5. Was it? I don't remember that show. We never finished it, so it's all still up in the air now. Hydrosylum Comics says, went down a YouTube rabbit hole and ended up watching your first 8-minute part 1 live. You've always been entertaining, brother. Oh my God, dude. What a coinky-dink. I was actually watching that the other day. I was at work, like early this week, and I was talking about the channel for some reason, and I was talking about how far we've come, probably reminiscent about the 20K thing. I was like, here's my very first live stream we ever did. And, man, oh man. And don't worry, the 9th anniversary of PCP is less than a month away. Jay, and we do plan on doing the reaction video to my first live stream. Figure Drawing says deadlifts can be dangerous. Just saying, squats are harder to F up. Hell yeah. And Figure Drawing says, and cables for the win. Twitch says, Canada is just America's hat. We go together. Canadian Survivalist likes that. Station. Tugan Pedro's in the house. Pew pew. Station. The one person who was there during the Top Gun, live during the Top Gun watch along, the watch party. By the way, the watch party is now being extended to the entire PCP fam. But we still want to plan something special for the patrons. Fable is in the house. One collection down. Yes. Can't wait for the book to come out. Station. Hell yeah. Good to see you, Fable. Happy Father's Day, by the way. American Demon, by the way, happy Father's Day. Your writing methods are wild. Hell yeah. I had one of those at work a few months back. Hell yeah, Inja. Everybody needs some time. Figure Drawing says, dang, Robbie's been doing some things. Yeah, and then Saturday night, went and saw my boy Clayton wrestle. He's been dealing with some injuries, so luckily he had a little bit of an easier night, but it was still a great show regardless. There was some new talent that I saw at the wrestling match last night that really impressed me. So it was a really, really cool experience. It's always cool hanging out with Clayton and Jamie. Hey, we got Blood Splatter Chatter in the house. By the way, just had a great conversation on Blood Splatter Chatter as part of his Summer Abroad. I love his Summer Abroad shtick. So he's doing 8 weeks, or 8 horror movies within 6 weeks from around the world, right? He's traveling the world. Get it? Summer Abroad. We kicked it off with Hostel, which was very appropriate because it's about Americans going to another country. Then he did Ring. We did Godzilla -1 last week. That was a super fun show. And then on Thursday night, we did Suspiria, which is my 3rd time talking about that on YouTube. And it won't be my last. I guarantee it. Y'all go sub up Blood Splatter Chatter. Inja, you're glad she's okay. I'm ecstatic she's okay. But thank you very much. Boom, 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 boom. Why did that sound like the Price is Right thing? Ba-doom, ba-doom, ba-doom. Does that Blood Splatter Chatter says, still haven't checked out Bo. Need to, though. Bruh, it's fucking weird, man. It's one that I gotta watch again. As soon as I finished it, I was like, I gotta watch that again. I gotta watch that one again. Like, Jesus Christ, do I gotta watch that one again? Hereditary, you watch it, you're like, that was traumatic, but I understand it. Midsummer, you're like, that was slightly traumatic, but I understand it. Bo is Afraid, you're just like, huh? Just like, what the fuck? Delight Loves Movies says, cats rule. Well, thank you so much for being here, Delight. By the way, Collateral is a week from tomorrow. I remember I think it was the first night, maybe you popped into the chats on a PCP movie night. We mentioned we were doing Collateral. You were like, when? And it is the last Monday in June. So it's a week from tomorrow. So tomorrow is Oblivion. And after that, we're doing Collateral. And then we kick off 5 shows all throughout July of Actionfest. Then we take a 2-week break, and then we start Horrorfest August 19th. So get ready for that announcement to come in July. So yes, Delight, cats do rule, but not the movie. All right, Trade Paper Dad says, for your information, Bad Boys Ride or Die was excellent. I've heard it was really good. And I skipped the movie theater over the last couple weeks because there's not really much out. I was going to go watch Watchers. It's, I think, from the daughter of M. Night Shyamalan, but it's gotten really bad reviews. So I was like, you know what? I'm kind of busy today. So I didn't go, and I didn't go last week. Next week, I am going to go see The Exorcism, which looks pretty bad. It's got Russell Crowe in it, but I'm going to go watch that next Sunday so we can talk about it here on the channel. But it doesn't look good. Has anybody seen Watchers? What do you think? What do you think? But yeah, I skipped Bad Boys just because. Just because. But I hear it's really good. And it's made a lot of money, so that's good. It's good. It's like the biggest hit of the summer so far. That's going to stand probably until Deadpool and Wolverine. American Demon, you're 100% completely right. Ariel said she's too old for that shit. She's like Danny Glover in Lethal Weapon. Too old for that shit, brother. You ain't lying. Don Daly says, the first live stream I ever saw was everyone eating peppers. Hell yeah. That was a fun time, man. I'm still a little bit of a spice lord, but not as crazy as I used to be. I used to use them for like certain things and push the boundaries, right? Basically, like make yourself uncomfortable to prove that you can get through it, and it makes you like more like, able to go through shit. Now I do that with deliberate cold exposure. So I've went the opposite direction. Oh yeah, and Verno, happy Father's Day. Fable, when is Blame Fable making his comeback? It's soon. Is it this week or next week? Let us know, Fable. We're shivering with anticipation. Don't get strung out by the way I look. Don't judge a book by its cover. Well, I'm not much of a man by the light of day, but by night I'm one hell of a lover. I'm just a sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania. I wish y'all could have saw my hips, because the hips don't lie. You know what I'm saying? The hell's wrong with me? Clayton and Jamie are goated. 100% American Demon. You will not convince me of otherwise. Injabinja says, Parasite this week on Blood Splatter Chatter. Hell yeah. I've heard that's a good movie. I haven't seen it, though. I will not be on that show. I don't remember if I committed to any other of Verno's shows for Summer Abroad. Verno, you let me know what you'd like to see me on. And if the date matches up, I'll go look at my calendar and we'll see what works out. But I know there was something else I think you wanted me to see. Was it Martyrs, maybe? Then there was a piece of me that wanted to do Pan's Labyrinth, but you know what? I don't know. I don't want to overcommit in July, but we'll see. I do got 2 appearances on DHS coming up. Not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, I'll be on DHS to talk about Don't Strip Nude for Your Killer, which is a cheesy Italian giallo from the exact same director as Burial Ground. So I don't know how that one's going to go. But I got the Blu-ray sent to me by Two Gun. Pew pew. So we're going to be checking it out. I'm going to be joining them. 2 weeks after that, I'll be there for Maxine. I'm so fucking ready for Maxine. The latest film in the Ty West X trilogy. Yeah, -1 is super good. So super good. Anissa says, yes, I was going to go watch Watchers. 5.8 on IMDb. That's actually not a super bad score. Fable says, Inside Out 2 topped the box office this week. Bruh, you know I ain't gonna go watch that one. Bunch of fucking snot-nosed kids running around on their tablets making noise. Fuck that. Plus, I haven't seen the first Inside Out, so how am I supposed to maintain continuity? That's my excuse, sure. You got me curious about this Beau movie. Beau. Beau is Afraid. I think me and Jamie really liked it, but we'll have to. It's definitely one I've been thinking about it since I watched it. That was Friday night, late night too. We started that shit at like 10:30, 11, and I was like, man, this motherfucker's 3 hours long. But we made it through it, and I really did enjoy it. Blood Splatter Chatter says, I loved Inside Out 1, bro. Brilliant animated movie. Thomas O'Brien's in the house said, fireworks already. Oh, man. It's about to happen. So glad I don't live with a super anxious dog anymore. Yep, One Collection Down says, this Friday is when Blame Fable Tonight comes back. This Friday, and we have a new temporary host. I'll be popping in the beginning. Ah, very cool. Let other people do the heavy lifting. You just get to pop in and say what's up and dip out. You should think about that. American Demon says, I just watched the Beau trailer and it looks weird as fuck. It is. It's super fucking weird. That trailer didn't even let you know how fucking weird this movie is. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. Blood Splatter Chatter says, you haven't committed, but you were interested in Martyr July 11th. Yeah, I actually saw a bunch of posts today about that movie in like my social feeds, which is odd and synchronistic. So fuck it. Put me down. July 11th. BCS. July 11th. Martyrs. All right, I'll put that. I know. I'll make it free. El Topo. Dude, the first time I ever watched El Topo, Jamie recommended it. And then a few months ago, a friend of mine recommended Holy Mountain. And I didn't realize it was the same director. Is it Jodorowsky or Jodorowsky? Jodorowsky? How do you say it? Jodorowsky? Anyway, that guy. Alejandro Jodorowsky. Let's just go with that, right? Co-created the Incal with Mobius, for instance. I have his tarot book. Me and my girlfriend have the same book. We need to actually get through. We need to do our side. I need to message her and be like, girl, we're supposed to be studying this Jodorowsky tarot book, and we haven't fucking flipped a page open. I'm not going to do that. American Demon says, we got to watch Maxine together. Janelle's big request. Yes, you, Janelle, Jamie, and hopefully Clayton, we all got to be there because I watched X with Jamie. I watched Pearl alone. And I want to watch Maxine with a bunch of people who are ready for this fucking movie. Because I'm ready for this fucking movie. So excited. Thomas O'Brien says, Lamb is good. Freaky. I haven't seen Lamb. Cardstock Variant says, I saw the TV Glow was great. I heard that was good. I think Joe Corallo told me that it was good. Beau's Afraid is on Peacock? Get the fuck out of here, man. I rented that shit on Amazon, bro. That's some bullshit. If it's on Peacock, I'm going to be pissed. Why did I not check? Dynamite says, going to watch The Boys tonight. I did watch the first episode of The Boys Season 4 this afternoon and fucking loved it. At first, I thought a new actor had started playing Mother's Milk. I was really confused and found out, no, it's the same dude. He just shaved his beard and lost a lot of weight. But, like, it looked like a completely fucking different dude until he started talking, right? And I tell you what, I loved it. I really loved it. Like, The Boys is something that is way better than the comic. And that's a rarity in film and TV adaptations. But The Boys is so fucking good. And season 4, episode 1 was really good. Now there's 2 episodes. There's 2 more episodes out right now. They released the first 3. I got to watch those, but I'm ready. I'm excited, actually. There's television out right now that I'm excited about, right? And it's a rarity for me, right? But The Boys is back and House of the Dragon starts tonight. Y'all, I'm so fucking excited for House of the Dragon returning tonight. It's been a long time since I done watched some House of the Dragon. You know what I'm saying. Joe says, I did recommend TV Glow. All right. Well, that's 2 plus Joe. You actually count for 3 recommendations for me. So, hell yeah. Joe, I hope you had a great time at Heroes Con. I don't want to talk about it anymore. But I hope you had a great time at Heroes Con. Fable says, you and Verno got me into the X trilogy. Cannot wait for Maxine. Hell yeah, brother. I'm right there. It's fucking awesome. I love X so much, and I love Pearl. I'm so ready for Maxine. Trade Paper Dad said, Godzilla -1 was very good. Felt like a legit remastering for the current time. I agree. Thomas O'Brien says, Star Blazers on the Internet Archive. You talking about Star Blazers, the anime? I have some of that shit on VHS, man. I haven't watched it, but I got it on VHS. Hydra Asylum of Comics says, 100% Robbie, and you can go into The Boys and be surprised because it's one of those subverted expectations things that actually works. I agree. Thomas O'Brien says, -1 could have had more Godzilla. It could have, but I didn't care. That's what the one Godzilla movie where I'm not, like at the end of it, I'm like, it needs more Godzilla. Usually I'm of the same mind, but with Godzilla -1, I didn't give a shit. I thought it was fine. Then that, like last week, I think on Sunday night, I watched Shin Godzilla. That was a weird one. That was a really fucking weird one. It was good. That was weird. That was really weird. Joe's at the airport. You leaving or getting back? If you're leaving, safe travels, homie. We will meet up at a con soon. Next con I'm going to is Scarefest. We're still ironing out the details of that. Nobody has agreed to go with me yet. So that's the detail that I'm ironing out. Nobody's agreed to go with me yet. But I'm fucking going to Scarefest. I got a media badge to Scarefest. So I'm really, really fucking excited about that. And Scarefest lineup is getting better and better. They just announced Caroline Williams, who played Stretch in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. She's also in Hatchet 3. She's in The Stepfather Part 2? Or is she in Part 1? She's in one of the Stepfather movies. The one with Terry O'Quinn, right? Is that 1 or 2? Which one's she in? Anyway, very excited to see her. To meet her. Waiting for your flight. Joe, safe travels, bro. Safe travels. Hope you had a great Heroes Con. We got to get that HBO sub back up. That's right, American Demon. Tell you what, I'll share a password if you share me your Max password. I'm thinking about just unlocking it tonight, man. I can't, I fucking love it. I love it. I know there's going to be spoilers tomorrow, man. And as much as I've been talking about it with my friends and tonight, my phone is listening. Everybody's listening. Big brother, big sister, they're always fucking listening. So spoilers are going to be coming out tomorrow morning. Fucking shit. All right, y'all, let's get this out of the way. The CBC Award nominations are live right now. Right now, you can go to cbcawards.org and nominate your favorite comic book YouTube channels in a variety of categories. Now, I'm about to drop a link in the chat directly to the nomination page. So the way that the CBC Awards work is this. Everybody gets to nominate. There's an open call for nominations. They take those nominations, whittle them down to the finalists. They announce the finalists at a later date, then people can go and vote on those finalists, and then they have the award ceremony later on in the year. PCP, us, you, me, we are the reigning champions of the CBC Awards. We took home 5 awards last year, including Best Hair, Best Comic Book Review for the 2nd year in a row, Best Ongoing Series with the Weekly Comic Book Review, Best Collaboration for the Monthly Comic Book Review, and Comic Book Community Channel of the Year. So y'all, it's very important that we get those nominations in as soon as possible. And I will say this. Let me go ahead and pull up a post I made in the PCP Army. So go there and nominate whoever you want for whatever category you want. But however, I will ask for your consideration for nominating Pop Culture Philosophers for Tier 5001 and plus subs, favorite channel. So the category that we're part of, because they have 0 to like, they have like different tiers of subscribers. We're in the 5,001 plus tier, okay? So nominate us for favorite channel. Consider nominating us for best collaborative project or event for the monthly comic book review. It would be great to defend that title this year. Please nominate us for best ongoing series for the weekly comic book review. It would be great to defend that title this year. Please nominate us for best comic book review. They started that 2 years ago. We've won it both years. It'd be great to at least defend it this year. So nominate us for that, please. Best comic review. Nominate us for best community, hands, mustache, facial hair, or hair. Now, I said if I was nominated for best hair or beard, I wouldn't, because there was a lot of controversy last year over this, believe it or not. So I'm accepting nominations for hands. I've been doing the top-down, bottoms-up videos. I've been accused of having manicures. I've never had a manicure in my life. These are just beautiful, beautiful hands, y'all. So please, nominate these hands right there. Because I think that would be fucking funny. All right, then there's a new, of course, Comic Book Community Channel of the Year. It'd be great to defend that. But there's a new award. There's a new category this year. It's Best Community Hangout Live Stream. A stream that supports community involvement or on stream or in chat. This is the first time they've done this. It's basically best live stream is what it is, with an emphasis on community involvement. I really, really would love Rockin Robbie Live to be nominated for that. So, for your consideration, go to the link I just threw up, right? At any time, very soon though, and consider nominating PCP for favorite channel, best collaborative project or event for the monthly comic book review, best ongoing series for the weekly comic book review, favorite community hands, mustache, facial hair, or hair for hands, because that would be fucking funny. And all those people that were hating on the hair and the beard nomination last year can go suck a fucking dick. And that's what I'm saying. If you want those people, if you want those haters to go suck a dick, nominate me for best hands. And then best comic book review. 2 years we've had this award. 2 years we've won it. So please nominate us for that. And nominate us for Community Channel of the Year and Best Community Hangout Live Stream for Rockin Robbie Lives. Once again, go to the link I just threw up in the chat, throwing it out again. And I'm going to pin it to the top of the chat. So there you go. Please consider nominating PCP for favorite channel, best collaborative project, best ongoing series, best hands, best comic book review, best community hangout live stream, and comic book community channel of the year. Let's go back to back, more than 5 to stay alive, if you know what I'm saying. Hell yeah. And Blue Wrench Award, please everybody go nominate Two Gun Pedro. I would please nominate Two Gun Pedro because he is so supportive in this community and for this channel in particular. Please, for the Blue Wrench Award, nominate, please, Two Gun Pedro. And for the Hall of Fame, I would encourage you to nominate either Ed Piscor of Cartoonist Kayfabe fame or Benny from Comicstorian, 2 members of this comic book community on YouTube that will be sorely, sorely missed. Trade Paper Dad says Mavs and 7. Trade Paper Dad, I love you, but I think you're delusional. I think you're delusional as fuck. Hydra Asylum Comics says Joe's take on Minority Report was amazing. I actually like when he and Jelani don't like a movie. Well, that's sad. That's sad. But you know what? It makes for some entertainment, man. My favorite bit of that is the rest of us being like, why are you treating Minority Report like cats, Joe and Jelani? Get the fuck out of here. And Joe only emboldened Jelani. Jelani says, no, I was going to say that same shit. Joe, you emboldened Jelani to go deeper into it than he fucking wanted to. I love it, though, when there's so much hate thrown on a movie that somebody ups their score out of spite. That's what Steph did. I thought it was great. Is there a category for jazz hands? Let's just consider that best hands. Jazz hands. Whew, let's do it. Name Changer says, the only award show I support is the Stanley Cup. Go Panthers. Why not? Our buddy Spillio's in Florida, so why not? A bunch of our friends are in Florida, so why not? I like Florida. Billy says, vote Rockin Robbie for best bully in the gym. That's why I stopped going to Planet Fitness. Everybody kept hitting that lunk alarm. They need to get us all trophies for the monthly comic book review, says Carrie. Yeah, I was wondering if they would do that, but there's no way. But you know what? That's an award for all of us. And as Fable says, a win for PCP is a win for all of us. 100%, bruh. Let's take it home again this year. Two Gun, I nominated you last year, and this year I'm going to make sure that everybody nominates Two Gun Pedro for the Blue Wrench Award. Come on, y'all. Come on. What's up, Stu? Hate that I didn't get to meet you at Heroes Con, man, but next time, brother, next time. Come to MegaCon next year. Or Heroes next year. We're making it happen next year 100%. It's going to happen. Money will be way better for me in 2025 than it is in 2024. I'm paying off some loans, paying off some debt. So it's put me a little bit like just on the cusp, and then having some car trouble just fucked it up too much. By the way, Thomas, go Celtics, I guess. I give a shit. I fucking hate the Celtics. I'm a Lakers fan. I fucking hate the Celtics, but you know what? There you go. They're going to win. They're going to win. They're going to win. They're going to win. Fable says, I nominated Two Gun last year, too. We need more people than to nominate Two Gun, so he actually gets the nomination. Then we can corral everybody together to actually vote for him once he's a finalist. So, go to the link pinned at the top. We're about to take a break. Go to that link. Nominate PCP for favorite channel. Best collaboration for the monthly comic book review. Best hands. Best ongoing series for the weekly comic book review. Best comic book review. Best live stream for Rockin Robbie Live. First year this category exists. Rockin Robbie Live, we've been going for years now. Come on, y'all. We deserve it. This is the best community hangout on comics YouTube, right? Totally. Totally. Why? Because you're here. So vote for us. Also, vote for us for Comic Book Community Channel of the Year so we can defend some of these titles. Maybe not necessarily win a bunch again, but at least be able to defend them. It's an honor to be nominated. But y'all, I'm telling you, out of the rising and raging support of the PCP Army last year, we're expecting big things this year. We would really, really appreciate it. And for the Blue Wrench Award, please nominate Two Gun Pedro. Hell yeah. We're taking a quick break. When we come back, the DC sneak peek, we'll be talking about In a Violent Nature and even a special surprise. Here when we get back on Rockin Robbie Live.
Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Live!
Hey everybody, welcome back to Rockin Robbie Live here on Pop Culture Philosophers. I am your host, Rockin Robbie Billups. This is the show where we talk about comics, movies, pop culture, and a whole lot more in a very chillaxed, safe, gentle, calm setting. Here on Pop Culture Philosophers, super excited. We've already been talking about a bunch of stuff, including the CBC Awards, the 20K giveaway. And once again, let me remind you, 20K giveaway is going on right now. All you got to do to be entered to win is comment on any video that we drop this week. And for every video that you comment, that's another entry into the contest. So if you commented on every video that we drop this week, including this video, Rockin Robbie Live, and not in the chat, but in the comments below, you are going to be entered to win a massive PCP mystery box, which will include, but is not limited to, every single issue of Avengers Twilight by Chip Zdarsky and Daniel Acuna. An absolute fantastic book. I really enjoyed this. Marvel sent this to us, and we're going to be giving it away as part of our 20K giveaway. Also, this Hulk Grand Design trade paperback, standard size, not the treasury size edition, but what's even cooler is it will come with a signed bookplate by Jim Rugg. Signed by Jim Rugg, the cartoonist responsible for this amazing book that takes you through the history of the first 300 issues of the Hulk. All that and more in our 20K giveaway. We're dropping videos all week long, pretty much every day. Comment on each of those videos to give you an entry into the contest. We will announce the winner next week here live on Rockin Robbie Live. Also, the CBC Awards, the official nominations are now live. So there's a chat, or there's a link pinned up at the top of the chat. Please consider nominating PCP for favorite channel, for best collaboration for the monthly comic book review, for best comic book review, for best ongoing series with the weekly comic book review, for best hands. We're going for best hands this year, y'all. Just to fuck all those people that were like pissed off that not only that I got nominated, but I won best hair and beard. So let's go for hands this week. Let's see if we can win that one. Also, they got a new category, best live stream, basically. Best community hangout via live stream. Vote for Rockin Robbie Live for that, and vote for us for Comic Book Community Channel of the Year. And please vote for Two Gun Pedro for the Blue Wrench Award. That's the biggest community support out there in the chat. Hell yeah. Follow Pop Culture Philosophers on Facebook and on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, join the PCP Army. That's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can check out podcasts, links to merch, and more at popculturephilosophers.com. You can follow me on X at @TheRockinRobbie. You can support the channel over at patreon.com/PCP, like these fine PCP patrons right there, or with the Super Chat, which does trigger a Joker video and a Hellboy song. We haven't had a Super Chat tonight. If you feel so inclined, please do so. However, all the support we need is a like, a share, a subscribe, and a participation tonight. Everybody gets a participation trophy here in PCP land, but that's all A-OK. All A-OK. Anyway, it's all A-OK here in PCP world. I confused myself. Hold on. Like, share, subscribe, participate in the conversation. Because even though we got a grand plan, this show is driven, fueled, if you will, by your questions, your thoughts, your comments, and your concerns. Coming up, we got the DC sneak peek. We got In a Violent Nature, a movie review, and we got a special bonus. All coming up here on Rockin Robbie Live. Please join us for the penultimate episode of Crew's Choice as we talk about Oblivion. This is Hammer Time Holeshoe's pick. Post-apocalyptic sci-fi film starring Tom Cruise. Very excited to watch this film. I've never seen it before. I have a lot of thoughts about it, and I'm really ready to have a great conversation next week, or this week, tomorrow, on PCP Movie Night. All right. Let's take a look at the chat. Delight is out. See ya. Hope you have a good one. Hope to see you tomorrow for Oblivion. Dynamite says, I watched The Thing the other night. Who do you think was the Thing at the end? So I'm assuming that you're talking about John Carpenter's The Thing. And one of my favorite movies. I love John Carpenter's The Thing. Here's my interpretation of the end. None of them, neither Childs or, why can I not remember Kurt Russell's character's name? McCready. Neither of them are the Thing. And to me, the sad, powerful impact of the end of the movie is the way mistrust and distrust worms its way in and becomes a part of this like stubborn, obstinate kind of thing. Neither of them are the Thing, and they will continuously distrust each other and stay there drinking whiskey in the freezing Antarctic cold until they both die. So to me, that's the ending of the movie. Neither of them are the Thing, but the tragedy is that neither of them can trust the other person, so they will both die. That is the ending of The Thing to me. So there you go. There you go. Carrie is in the house. So, community artists, unpublished artists, do you guys think we can nominate someone that is a professional artist that doesn't have comic book art published? Why not? For best comic book artist in the comic book community, go for it. Go for it, Carrie. I'm not seeking that one out. And then Carrie says, sorry, Robbie, but I'm picking a woman for best hair. That's fine, Carrie. That's good. I'm not going for best hair this year. I'm going for best hands. Carrie says, Sheena from Melanin and MAGA has fabulous hair. Hell yeah. Dynamite says, John Carpenter admitted one was the Thing, but refuses to tell us which one. Who gives a shit? The point of the movie is that it's ambiguous at the end. So you can place it on. You can say it's Childs or Childs. You can say that it's McCready, or you can say it's neither of them, or you can say it's both of them. Doesn't matter. The point is, regardless, they're both going to sit there and die. That's the point. Figure Drawing says, nice theory. It matches the Thing itself, a mirror into madness. Hell yeah. William says, sorry, Robbie. Carpenter said Childs is a Thing, and McCready knew since he drank the drink. You know what, though? It doesn't matter. Art is interpreted by the observer. So, regardless of what Carpenter says, I got my head canon. Which is funny, because every time we get into the Blade Runner thing, I go, fucking Ridley Scott says that Deckard is a replicant. But the fun of that is it's ambiguous. It's up to you to decide. It's just like the end of the Inception, right? Or Inception. It's not called The Inception. It's called Inception. Just as cool to me, right? Can you describe your hands? Nice and soft, well manicured. What makes your hands the best hand? What makes my hands the best hand is that I talk with my hands very well. You can see that on many of my videos. Also, I don't do manicures, but I keep them pretty nice. They're very thin hands, very crony at times. Look at that. Look at those gnarly hands. I wish I could make them do like Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man things, and I would like even be better, but I'm just saying, everybody got mad about the best hair, best beard. Come on, let's go best hands. It's just a bit. It's just a joke. But seriously, vote for me for best hands. Okay? They are soft, though. I moisturize daily. I do. I have a very rigid structure of moisturization. Dynamite says, the Thing ultimately wins. He stayed frozen for years. If you believe one was the Thing, of course. Well, even that, the Thing still wins. Even if both of them are not the Thing, they're both human, they both die, the Thing still wins. James says, you sold me. You got my vote. Okay, thank you. I'm very expressive with my hands. Deckard has to be a replicant to me, that movie, to make that movie make sense. Deckard is a replicant, Last G, in my headcanon. But, so somebody that goes, no, the point is he's not, but he's questioning whether he is or not. That's the point of the movie. That's just as valid and relevant of a point, right? Absolutely. I thought the Thing was Ben Reilly. You mean Ben Grimm, brother. Come on, James. Come on, James. You're embarrassing us. Ben Grimm. Come on. All right. Before we get into the DC sneak peek, I want to show something else that's going to be in the PCP mystery box for the 20K giveaway. It's this right here. It's a trade paperback of Spider-Man Reign. Care Andrews and Jose Villarrubia. So this came out recently. It's been out of print for a while. It's hard to find the individual issues. They are doing a sequel to this book, which is out like in 2 to 3 weeks, something like that. I read this yesterday. Yeah, I think I read this yesterday on my day off. I've been enjoying my time off. One of the things I did was read Spider-Man Reign because, believe it or not, as much as I've heard about this controversial book, I've never read it all the way through. So I read it all the way through, and holy cow, is this book awesome. It was touted as the Dark Knight Returns of Spider-Man back in the day. That holds true a little bit. Now, it doesn't have the long-ranging impact that Dark Knight Returns had. However, it is about the future of Spider-Man, him coming out of retirement, and Care Andrews even mimics some of the art style of Frank Miller, Klaus Janson, and Lynn Varley. In fact, and Jose Villarrubia does that too with the coloring with Lynn Varley. There's even characters in the movie in the story. One of them's named Miller Jansen, and one of them's named Var, right? So it's very obvious what Care Andrews was going for. Here's the quick pitch of the book. Spider-Man is old. He's retired. The world is in a police state right now, New York in particular. He has to come out of retirement. He's urged to come out of retirement by J. Jonah Jameson. You find out, spoilers, but here's the hook. Mary Jane has died of radioactive poisoning from Spider-Man's radioactive spider jizz. Okay? But it's actually a really good, solid frickin' story that doesn't go out of its way to try to replicate the density of Dark Knight Returns. And this is a book that knows it's going Dark Knight Returns. It doesn't feel the need to do 16-panel grids, but it does play with the format. It does a lot of 5-panel widescreen composition. But it's got certain ticks of Miller and Jansen and coloring from Varley, and it frickin' works. I was really amazed and transfixed by this book. Plus, Spider-Man Reign 2 is coming out in just 2 to 3 weeks. So you're going to want to read this. This is going to be a part of the 20K giveaway. Along with every issue of Avengers Twilight, and along with Hulk Grand Design with a signed bookplate from creator Jim Rugg. So y'all want in on that. Trust me. Once again, all you got to do to enter the contest is comment on every video that we do this week. That each video, each comment on each one comment per video will give you one entry into the contest. You comment on all of them, you got better chances to win. But I really enjoyed revisiting, or should I say visiting for the first time, Spider-Man Reign. I really enjoyed it, and I hope that whoever gets this, whoever wins this will enjoy it and get ready for the sequel, which is coming up in just a couple of weeks. American Demon says, The Thing is the best of horror. Hits a lot of boxes along with amazing writing and uncertainty, as well as amazing special effects from Rob Bottin, I would add to that. Carrie says, so discussion idea, is it even possible to have the kind of impact comic stories like Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen had in 1986 and 1987 in today's market? Yes, it is very much possible. It is very much possible. It is very much able to happen. But it depends on the creators and it depends on us. So there you go. But yeah, I would even think that we've had some of those comics. What's the last thing that would hit? Like, here's the thing. Whenever somebody says, this is the Dark Knight Returns of, like they said at the beginning of Tom King's Wonder Woman run, it makes me roll my fucking eyes. It's probably one of the reasons why I never read Spider-Man Reign all the way through. Spider-Man Reign was great. And the comparisons are there, but only really in story, not so much in execution. Like, you can see the influence of Dark Knight Returns there, but it's also a really good perennial book that I can't believe I haven't really dived in before. And if I had, I'd been talking about this one for years and years and years. House of Dragon Season 2 has started. We're going to lose a lot of subscribers, but that's okay. A lot of viewers, I should say, not subscribers. Let's not lose subscribers. We're not in competition with House of the Dragon, y'all. You can watch it later, you can watch us later. It's all good. I'm so excited about that. What's the last book to hit like that for me? Ice Cream Man, to me, is something akin to Dark Knight Returns. It's innovative. It's resonant. It's surprising and out of nowhere. Yeah, I would go with Ice Cream Man as being a modern day equivalent to something as far as impactful. And I'm talking about impactful on the industry. And that may not mean anything at the moment, but it will mean something. And if you don't think that Ice Cream Man has not influenced a lot of comic books over the last 5 years, you're dead wrong. You're dead wrong. All right. DC book. Let's start that over. DC has comics out this week, believe it or not. I have read them, and here's the thing. Starting in July, DC's going back to Wednesday releases. Are we still going to have the DC sneak peek? I don't know. It depends on how quickly my lunar shipment gets here. We'll see. We shall see. But for now, here is your DC sneak peek. All right, we're going to kick it off with Hellblazer, Dead in America, number 6. I'm loving the hell out of this run. Fantastic stuff, right in the vein of the Vertigo Hellblazer run, started by Jamie Delano, brought to fruition and completion through creators like Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon, Brian Azzarello, Richard Corbin, Paul Jenkins and Sean Phillips, Warren Ellis. Lots of great creators have been a part and attached to Hellblazer. Mike Carey, for instance. Now, Constantine is now folded completely into the DCU. That's a soft version of Constantine that I don't really like. But this is the Vertigo level. And what Cy Spurrier's been able to do is been able to tie it into like the Constantine story in early Sandman, thread it through, bring in all the other stuff attached to Vertigo Constantine, and make this work for a modern audience. Aaron Campbell's artwork, by the way, with Jordi Belair on the coloring, is chilling, atmospheric, and super fucking gnarly. In this issue, we get into the metatextual stuff. I feel like at times they're calling out Grant Morrison in this issue, but as much as I am a fan of Grant Morrison, I dug everything in here, and I don't think that it was... What's the word? I don't think it was a slight in any kind of way. I am loving the challenging nature of that Hellblazer book. Then we've got Crisis on Infinite Earths number 3, facsimile foil edition. Y'all, I have most of the original issues of Crisis, and if you don't think I'm recollecting and double dipping on these foil ones, you're sadly mistaken. Then we've got Wonder Woman number 10, The End of Sacrifice. Tom King's Wonder Woman was heralded as The Dark Knight Returns, the quintessential best Wonder Woman story we never got. Well, that's bullshit, right? Because George Perez did great stuff on Wonder Woman. John Byrne did decent stuff on Wonder Woman. Brian Azzarello and Cliff Chiang did amazing stuff with Wonder Woman. My favorite run of Wonder Woman is the Brian Azzarello, Cliff Chiang, Tony Atkins run, I believe, from the New 52. But I'm telling you what, I have more than warmed up to the Tom King, Daniel Samperi Wonder Woman run. In fact, I'm 100% on board and an avid fan of this. This was a great issue, focusing in on the rivalry between Cheetah and Wonder Woman, taking Wonder Woman through the trials and the tribulations and bringing her out. And then a nice juxtaposition with the comedy of the Wonder Girls in this issue. It really works. I love the artwork, and as much as I rolled my eyes on the first couple issues of this run, it's really ironed itself out, and I think this has become one of DC's best books. Then we've got Titans number 12. Titans number 12 is all right. It's okay. It's good. And here's the thing. When I say a DC book is all right, that's better than the all right that typically comes from Marvel, which is weird. So this is a book that I wouldn't read if I had to buy it, right? Everybody knows I run a comic book shop. I don't have to buy these books. You know what I'm saying? So I get to read this for free. But the beauty of that is I get to read it and tell you. And I'm telling you, this is all right, mid-level, okay DC book. It's decent, it's cool, it's moving the plot along, but it's not completely gripping, and it's not the best thing they do, but it's still very, very solid. So an okay book at Marvel might be a 2.5, but an okay book at DC right now is a 3.0. Just shows you that I think DC still has the slight edge, line-wide, over Marvel, even though Marvel has been doing some good work. From the same writer, Tom Taylor, we have Nightwing 115. This is Fallen Grayson number 2. This is the second part of the 5-part finale of the Tom Taylor Bruno Redondo run. Great art from Bruno Redondo, not really pushing things innovatively or compositionally or anything like that, but there are moments where it has really solid composition and really solid movement. I really like this run, and even though I do think it meanders around a little bit, I think it has refocused here for the ending. All the threads are coming to a head. This was a pretty big deal issue, and I really like the setup of what's about to happen. Then we've got Green Lantern War Journal, issue number 10. Philip Kennedy Johnson is killing this John Stewart book. Now, we got a Hal Jordan book that is fantastic by Jeremy Adams. I almost said Jeremy Irons. Jeremy Adams, Jeremy Irons, two completely different bros. All right, so Green Lantern War Journal, though, focusing in on John Stewart, his past, his family, and introducing some interesting concepts, playing with the Dark Star, and able to actually do something different with the emotional spectrum that's outside of the stuff that Jeff Johns already established back in his run of Green Lantern. I'm not saying that the Philip Kennedy Johnson and Jeremy Adams runs right now are as good as the Jeff Johns stuff, but it's the best stuff since. And if you're not reading this book, shame on you. It's ending at issue 12. That freaking sucks, because this book has been great and has been a really great meditation on war and how that affects a soldier who has issues outside of that, including his job, career, and his family. This book's been amazing. Then we got Batman Superman World's Finest, issue number 28, continuing the Impossible story. The basic gist of this story is this. All of the imps in the fifth dimension have a corresponding hero. So Mix Yes Pitalik, who loves Superman, Batmite, who loves Batman, but there's a Green Lantern one, there's a Wonder Woman one, there's a Martian Manhunter one, right? But they also, all their arch enemies, all their villains have their own versions too. They come into our reality, start wrecking shit. Superman and Batman get flung through all 6 dimensions, and now we're dealing with Jimmy Olsen being the last hope against the most powerful imp that the DCU has ever seen. The only thing standing between him and utter destruction is Jimmy Olsen. Real fun stuff, great art from Dan Mora, really solid stuff, and a really solid story from Mark Waid, who's able to keep it classic yet fresh and new. All right, then we got Batman 149. Chip Zdarsky. So the failsafe stuff is done and complete, though we know that failsafe and Zurin R is going to factor in Absolute Power. By the way, I have read Absolute Power issue number 1. Amazing artwork from Dan Mora and company. The artwork in Absolute Power number 1 is great. The scale and the scope and the sense of dire consequences and true scale by Mark Waid are great. There is one thing about the story that is a little bit too on the nose involving anything going on right now. It's not a political thing, but it is like a technological thing. It's AI. So like the idea of like fake footage and AI, it's being used way too much in Absolute Power number 1. It's just a little bit too on the nose, but it sets up a really interesting premise that has a lot of scale and scope to it. But the artwork is amazing. So knowing it's only 4 issues, it's going to be interesting to see how that develops. But now that all the failsafe stuff is done, we still have to thread in that failsafe is going to be a part of Amanda Waller's plans. We already know that because of the Free Comic Book Day issue. But this is a good reset to Batman, right? Batman's been broke. He's not in the manor anymore. He lost a hand. A lot of these things kind of get fixed in a way of sorts here in this issue. This was a really solid issue of Batman. The art is not Jorge Jimenez. The art is okay. It's Michelle Bandini and Steve Lieber. I do like Steve Lieber. Some of the inking, though, maybe a little bit too clean for him. But I do like the book, and it's Bruce kind of dealing with the fallout. And I love the idea that Chip's had this whole storyline, and now that most of it's concluded, he's able to take the time to actually build up, not build up, but to actually deal with like a coda of sorts, deal with some of the resolutions and some of the ramifications from his run. But this has been the most solid issue of Batman in a few months for me. So to recap, Hellblazer, Dead in America number 6, absolutely phenomenal. Crisis on Infinite Earths, Facsimile Edition number 3, foil, that's a buy. I buy that one. All right, Wonder Woman number 10, I'm really coming around on this run. I really do like it. Titans is just okay, but okay at DC's pretty solid. Then we got Nightwing. That's a really solid one. 3.5 on that one. Green Lantern War Journal, part of 2 great Green Lantern books right now. Batman Superman World's Finest, classic superheroics in a modern sense and scale. And Batman 149, a really solid issue that's kind of a coda of sorts to everything that Chip Zdarsky has laid out so far right now. And even though this isn't DC, well, fuck it. That was your DC sneak peek. But even though this isn't DC, I have read my Image books as well. I do want to talk to you real quick about Destro. Destro number 1, written by Dan Waters with artwork by Andre Brisson and Andrea Lucas on the coloring, Russ Wooten on the lettering. Y'all, this book is awesome. I thought Scarlet by Kelly Thompson was pretty good. This Destro book, though, fits right in and takes the space left blank from Cobra Commander. Dan Waters is not a G.I. Joe head, but he is a fan of certain types of characters, and he did a lot of research on Destro, and he is having so much fun with the character of Destro. and I'm having fun reading it, right? This book proves that you don't have to be a childhood fan to bring excitement to a character, right? We talk all the time about the Energon universe and all the passion and excitement and enthusiasm that it's bringing to modern comics. Transformers is amazing. Why? Daniel Warren Johnson loves the Transformers, and he's really respecting that in his run. You feel that with Josh Williamson on his Joe stuff, Cobra Commander and Duke. You can feel the love there. Kelly Thompson, big fan of G.I. Joe. Scarlett's one of her favorites. You can feel the love there. Dan Waters, growing up in the UK, didn't have G.I. Joe. He could have had, what was it? Action Force or whatever. I don't know how that worked over there. I know they released the toys. I don't know if the cartoon was over there. But he has no connection to Destro. He did some research, fell in love with his character. That enthusiasm shines through. Also, Dan Waters is an amazing writer and probably the best writer that the Energon universe has. And we are super lucky that he's writing Destro. I love Cobra Commander. I think I love Destro even more, and it's even more cemented here. Dan Waters completely understands the character. You get the twins in this issue. All this manipulations going on behind the scenes. The friction between him and Cobra Commander. This is freaking awesome. Let me show you a page that's not in the preview. That's badass, that won't spoil anything. I'll show you this page. Crimson Guard, everybody. This is a great book. If you love in the Energon universe, do not skip out on Destro. That book is freaking phenomenal. Phenomenal. All right, let's take a look at the chat. TMX Comics says, Robbie has to be the last pillar left in the community that hasn't sold out or quit. Well, shit. That's funny, because when I started working with Dynamite, people said I sold out. But if you notice, I don't fucking jizz all over every Dynamite book that comes out. Most of them I don't even comment on. So, yeah. If somebody wants to work with us, we'll work with them. But we will not sell out. And what I mean by that is this. We will not sell our opinions here on PCP. So recently, Marvel has reached out. Marvel wants to work with Pop Culture Philosophers. They sent us those Avengers Twilights that are going to be part of the 20K giveaway. They sent those to me because they want me to review the book ahead of the trade paperback release. I will do that because I love that book. They also sent me Gods 1 through 8, and they sent me that before number 8 dropped. So I was able to read that book, and it actually benefited Marvel to send me that book. Here's the thing. Even though we are now entering the early stages of a working relationship with Marvel Comics, I will not lighten up on my opinions or what I think works and what doesn't work over at Marvel. And they should really respect that because that's what they need. They need to hear that stuff. So yes, we are working with Marvel right now. We'll see how it develops. But it ain't going to change shit. I ain't going to all of a sudden start liking Amazing Spider-Man because Marvel sends me books. You dig what I'm saying? Carrie says, TMX, it's rough out there. A lot of times there is an oversaturation and eats people up. TMX says, I agree, but also people use their status to make their own brand to cash in and then leave when it doesn't work out their way. We have to remember why we do this for the love of the genre. Bruh, let me tell you something, TMX. I do what I do because I love comics. I do what I do because I love cinema. I do what I do because I love y'all. And I love this community, and I love hanging out with y'all. Selling out ain't something we're going to do. Gary says, John Constantine might be added to my list of comic book boyfriends. Add him to Red Hood, Winter Soldier, and Grifter. You know what? We don't have to have the same taste in men, Carrie. But I think your taste in men is a little problematic. Why do you like the bad boys? Last G says, Grant Morrison did a 2-issue run of Hellblazer with David Lloyd. 26, 27? That sounds about right. I remember those 2 issues. I think I have them somewhere in my collection. Warren says there won't be any impact comics until creators lose the fascination with sexual philia and tell stories without agenda. I think that's a pretty bogus comment. Here's the agenda for comics. Tell a fucking story, make some fucking money, right? And comics have always had an agenda, and sometimes the agenda that you perceive out of a piece of fiction isn't even necessarily something they get out of it. Like my idea about the end of the Thing. John Carpenter's idea might be that Childs is the Thing. My idea is that neither of them are the Thing. Doesn't fucking matter. Guess we both got agendas in the work. Gary says, if you want to tell me that Watchmen and Dark Knight Returns didn't have a message, I'll have to completely disagree. Well, I will agree with that. Eddie says, I remember having the hardcover of Spider-Man Reign when it came out, and it was pretty good from what I remember. It's really good. Really good. Really good. Gary says, oh, Destro. In her best Baroness impersonation. Bloodsplatter Chatter says, I'd like to make it clear that my opinions are very much for sale, meaning that A24, he's willing to sell out. So start sending him early access and he'll fucking jerk you guys off as much as you want. To your heart's content. Gary has a type, I see. Did you hear that Frank Miller has a biopic coming out? Yeah, my buddy over at Phase 1 Comics, Kevin, watched it live at the theater, and it wasn't an option for me, or if it was, I didn't know. But yeah, it's like American, it's like Frank Miller, American artist or cartoonist or something like that. I really, really want to see that. I really want to check that out. All right, there was a movie that came out a couple weeks ago. It's a slasher film. And it's a different type of slasher film. So in a non-spoiler way, let's talk about In a Violent Nature. So In a Violent Nature came out in theaters, and now it's going to be released on Shudder. I don't know if it's on Shudder yet, but it's very soon to be on Shudder. And I will applaud this movie for being a different take and approach to your typical slasher thing. Now, I watched this at the movie theater because I opened up my AMC app. There was nothing coming out that I knew I wanted to see. And I saw this and saw it was a new horror film. And even though, in hindsight, because after I watched this movie, I had a chat with Verno and I had another chat with Dylan. And Dylan was like, yo, I mentioned this movie. I was like, you know what? I vaguely remember you mentioning this movie, but I watched it without knowing anything about it, right? I went to the theater. I was very excited. There was a lot of people in the theater for a not heard of slasher on a Sunday afternoon. There was a lot of people watching this movie. And I'm kind of disappointed with it, y'all. I found the movie to be rather boring, kind of silly. So here's the whole vibe of the whole movie. It is your typical slasher, very much influenced by Jason, and it is all from the killer's perspective. So it's a Jason-type figure. He's a disfigured individual who was killed under tragic circumstances, who has been resurrected from the dead to wreak vengeance on anybody who comes near. It's involving a locket and all that kind of stuff. And when I say it's from his perspective, I really mean that. Now, we do get some gnarly kills, but most of the movie is just following this guy from behind. And I'm not even kidding. It's called an ambient slasher. Most of this movie is just this dude walking and us seeing him from behind. But, like I said, there are some gnarly kills. There are other characters in the movie, but they don't really stand out. They don't really have any kind of development, and they are inconsequential to the movie overall. So what I liked about the movie. Here's what I liked. I liked that it was a bold, different take on a slasher film. Now, many times, me and my homies, me and us here, we have had this conversation. Wouldn't it be cool to see a Michael Myers movie from Michael's perspective? Wouldn't it be cool to see Friday the 13th from Jason's perspective? Actually, no. Because then you lose all character development. There is no character development in this movie. There are characters in this movie, and you get brief hints here and there, but for the most part, it's just us following this dude behind him. There's no musical score in the movie. They call it an ambient slasher because you hear the footsteps, you hear all the gnarly kills, but structurally, this movie's like an hour and a half, and it felt like I was in that theater for 4 hours. Now, I know a lot of people have been liking this movie. A lot of people are really liking the different approach to the slasher film. I applaud that, but I don't think it necessarily works. There's probably a reason we haven't gotten a Friday the 13th movie from Jason's perspective. And if we did, there would at least be slight character development, some nudity, some sex, maybe some more over-the-top kills, and some music to kind of break up the monotony. This movie felt monotonous to me. It just kept going and going. And then the final act has this like 15-minute section where you're just like, something's going to happen, something's going to happen, nothing fucking happens. Nothing fucking happens. I am not even kidding when I tell you that probably 30% of the runtime of this movie is just you behind a dude walking through the fucking woods. It's pretty fucking boring. It's boring. And I was high as shit when I watched it. So I shouldn't have been bored. That should have been cool. Now, one other positive about the movie is the cinematography. It looks great. It's done in 4:3, which to me, I don't know. I haven't heard the director or anything talk about it. But to me, it seems like he's going for that like VHS kind of vibe. That like old school kind of vibe. Like here's like an old school slasher. Well, you want an old school slasher. Christmas Bloody Christmas is an old school slasher that feels modern and fun and has sex and violence and all the stuff that I love in a slasher film. This one just takes it a little bit too slow. It just drags on. And it's got some gnarly kills. There's a couple kills in there. There's one that's from the top with a rock. I like that. I laughed out loud in this super quiet fucking theater. Nobody was talking. Nobody was laughing. It was just fucking quiet, right? And when it was over, it was quiet leaving. I haven't seen a theater that quiet leaving a horror film since I first watched Blair Witch Project, right? There's one kill in particular. It's been called and labeled the yoga kill. That was fucking awesome, but also at the same time, it was weird. It was like so over the top. It's like in this really grounded movie, you're doing this kill that's so over the top, it doesn't make sense. Like, it's like extra work. You know what I'm saying? Like, the killer would have to go through extra work to do this, to do something that's already done. And it didn't quite work for me. When the movie was over, I was really glad. I was glad that I had seen it. I was glad that I'd seen it in the theater. I do applaud that it was trying to do something different. But y'all, it was boring as shit. It was boring as shit to me. Maybe if you got a bunch of people over, you're drinking, maybe taking some shots of tequila, maybe smoking some Doge, doing all that kind of thing, and you're just chilling and doing your vibe, maybe it works then. But honestly, it did not work for me watching it in the theater. I love watching movies in the theater. I love watching horror movies in the theater. I'm glad I watched this movie. I don't feel like I wasted my money. I have an AMC A-list pass, so I get to go watch whatever I want. So I just picked it because it was a new horror movie that I'd never heard about. And I just remember being like, all right. Why are they holding that shot for so long? Is this dude just walking? And then at one point I remember being like, this dude is not just going to be walking most of this movie, right? He was walking most of the movie. Story super paper thin. So paper thin, like you can see through it, right? It's like the paper that Greg Land uses over a Penthouse magazine to draw a comic, right? It's that thin of paper. This is the plot. Some of the gore effects are cool, but a lot of the kills are just kind of like off camera and don't really work. And this is supposed to be very visceral and very brutal, and it's like making people throw up. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. The Prowler kicks this movie's ass. And The Prowler's not necessarily what I would call a good movie. You know what I'm saying? But I love The Prowler. So, yeah, in a violent nature, I'm going to tell y'all, it didn't quite work for me. not something I'll own on Blu-ray, and I'll only watch it again when I'm showing it to other people to see what their reaction's going to be. I appreciate the concept. Cinematography's great. The foliage in the forest, the lights, the way they show the time of day, that stuff worked for me. There are elements of it that worked, but very few for me. Overall, most of it didn't work. I would give In a Violent Nature 2 out of 5 ya digs. If you watched In a Violent Nature, let me know in the comments below what you thought about it. We'll also enter you into our 20,000 subscriber giveaway, so comment below right now. Let me know what you thought about it. In a Violent Nature. Me, didn't really work for me. I found the movie, in a word, boring as fuck. That's 3 words, but we can make it 1 when we say boring as fuck. Anyway, that's what I thought about In a Violent Nature. All right. We're going to clip that out, drop it out tomorrow morning. So make sure you go and, you don't have to rewatch it, but go and comment on the video to give yourself an extra entry into the 20K giveaway. Let's take a look at the chat. American Genius, that's the name of the Frank Miller documentary. Thank you. Name changes. Hey, what's up, chill out, man? Carrie says, I like slashers, so I've been wondering about it. Not on Shudder yet. Looks like a third-person video game. It does, Dynamite. It has that whole kind of perspective. Carrie says, ugh, from the killer's perspective, it's kind of new, but that isn't the heart of a movie like that. I agree. Yeah, where's the greatness of the final girl? There is a final girl in the movie, but man, it's pretty bullshit. Figure Drawing says, 100% agree, tits and gore can go a long way. I know, especially when it comes to slashers. Carrie says, I wanted it to succeed because the concept seems interesting, but I might wait to see it on Shudder then. I would wait to see this on Shudder. If you have to pay to go see it, wait to see it on Shudder. It's still playing at my theater, by the way. That means it's doing pretty good. Most, like, slashers like this that most people have, like, the general audience doesn't give a shit about, they come and go within a week or two, but it's still rocking. That's partially why 80s horror was awesome, I agree. Was it better than Late Night with the Devil? I haven't seen Late Night with the Devil yet, so I can't tell you that. Chill out, man. American Demon says, my first time hearing Robbie being absolute negative on a work. Well, you're still new. You're still new to the Rockin Robbie train, brother. And Chill Out Man says, Demon, you should hear his thoughts on Roadhouse. Roadhouse. The new Roadhouse was better than this movie, in my opinion. Name Changes says, I liked the new Scream. So did I. I really did like Scream 6. Greg Land gets prominent work because he meets a deadline. Something most artists can't do right now. Hyphenate it. Boring as fuck, yeah. Oh, is Matina being accused of AI art now? Roll my eyes. Who cares? We had a cool conversation with Joe about AI after the PCP movie night we just did. What was that? Interview with the Vampire. So it's not something live or whatever. All right. We got American Demon in the house right now. I had a chat with him recently about his new book, Envy. Envy issue number 2 is on Kickstarter right now. I'm going to throw a link to the Kickstarter right there. And I'm even going to pin it at the top as soon as I get the opportunity, because it's kind of in the way. So I need some comments real quick so I can get that up so I can pin it to the top. So American Demon Comics, my buddy Austin. There we go. Thank you. Replace pin message. Pin now at the top is a link to the Kickstarter for this Envy number 2 by American Demon Comics, my buddy Austin Light, good friend of mine. He's dreamy. He's creative. He's fucking an awesome dude, and he's one of my friends and one of my homies, and I see us being homies for a long time. I really like Austin. I brought him on to have a chat with me about this book. Now we're going to share that chat with you. So everybody, please consider throwing some money towards Austin's way to get this book funded. Envy, issue number 2. Hey everybody, I am Rockin Robbie, as you know, of course, and I am here with Austin Light to talk about his latest project. Austin is a personal friend of mine. He's a homie. I'm a big fan of his work. Very excited for this new project. Austin, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell everybody what you're doing.
I'm Austin Light, the owner of American Demon Comics, which is my brand. I plan on having a lot of stories under this brand. Envy currently is the only story, an ongoing story right now. I'm a webcomic creator first and foremost, so I do make the comic book page, but I slice it up and I make my updates available on my website and on social media. So you can pretty much find me anywhere if you go through the tags of American Demon Comics.
Heck yeah. So you got a Kickstarter going right now for Envy issue number 2, right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So Envy issue number 2 is more so the origin story. The first issue is kind of a prelude. It was like a hook. Satan has taken over Limbo, and he is, well, not Lucifer. They're two different things. Lucifer has taken over Limbo, and he is now trying to spread up towards our reality and the cosmos, and just enact the end is what he wants to do. He feels that it's time to go ahead and do that, against what God would say otherwise. But in doing that, King Belial, one of the kings of hell, is summoned to our reality. All the kings must be summoned. It's kind of a hierarchy thing that is trying to build itself up to getting Lucifer out of the shackles of hell. With this, the Archangel Michael intervenes, and he cuts down King Belial, Envy, in pieces out, and Envy is injured and dying and turning into ether, and they reincarnate as a demon or an angel. They reincarnate, and she was about to undergo a reincarnation, but the druid that summoned her said, "Hey, we have a pact to make because we have not made one yet." And Envy was like, "Well, I'm dying, so I don't know what you want." And she was like, "Well, if we turn you into a human, it will reform you. You will be saved. You will not have to reincarnate. And you just have to live the life of a human. And then you can get your demonic soul back. If you fulfill this, then you will get your demonic soul." So she says, "You know what? That kind of sucks, but I'll do it." And in this issue, it shows the transformation, and they are in a tight spot. So I am on the last 5-ish pages of the issue, and it's
so
currently
it's almost
coming.
done.
Yeah. And it is updating every week or two, and so you can read on to find out how they get out of that. So it's been a very, very fun project. It was a webtoon back in 2019, and it is now morphed into this strictly, I stepped away from webtoons and is now social media and website oriented, and now for print.
Yeah. Well, we'll throw the websites and everything down in the description. And if someone can throw it in the chat right now, that would be really, really appreciative. American Demon, this book is about like Lucifer and Belial, and you get all this kind of stuff going on. So like, what is it? So like, just as a whole, like, is everything you're doing in the world, like, are you going to build out this world? Is Envy its own thing, or is there more to come? Is it all part of the same universe? What's going on there?
It could be. So, for example, one of the next stories that I'm so eager to get into, I'm hoping that eventually I work into being able to work on 2 things at one time, is a Western. And in this Western, the government has a problem with Bigfoot, because Bigfoot is popping up in these new frontiers, and they don't like that. This is kind of a bringing into question who was here first, evolution. They don't like it. and so they hire a mercenary type kind of outlaw. They pretty much kind of have to bribe her to hunt down, cover up any Bigfoot stuff.
Dude, that's a cool idea. Bigfoot in like the West, like the Old West. That's awesome.
I'm just so excited to have fun with it. But there's a whole paranormal aspect to this, to anything that I make. So demons are going to be involved. Witches are going to be involved. She's going to run into who knows what. And I like to keep it very grounded and gritty. Like if it can be like very from a source of that time, like I use the Keys of Solomon. I have the Heptameron up there.
Oh, you better be careful having those in your house, man. I'm telling you, that's what people say when they see my copies.
But I want to make it very based in something that people try to like work with in our realm of being able to touch. But the demons might still be there, but they might be an old reincarnation of the demons that are going to be the demons in Envy. So I might be playing with that idea a little bit, but I would attach it that way, but it's not going to be like reliant off any of these stories. Like it would not. This Western would not be reliant off Envy and vice versa. Their
own stories, they could potentially exist in the same universe. So for anybody out there that's watching that's not familiar with Envy at all, like what basically is the book?
Well, it's really supposed to kind of question us as humans, because this demon is going to be turned into a human, and she will get her powers sporadically, but she will not have her full demonic out. I don't know if you're familiar with My Hero Academia, but the character All Might, the character All Might can kind of go in and out of his form. It's like I can be a superhero for about 3 hours, and then I turn into this wimp because I got really badly injured. So now I'm this wimp, and I have to very, very carefully use this power, because if I can't use it in a time where I need it, that's bad. So Indy might be very much the same, but she won't fully be able to harness it and keep it, but she will have to, in order to get that demonic soul, what she was originally, she has to know what it means to be in love with somebody, what it means to be hurt by somebody, what it means to feel guilty, to have joy, and
so you're exploring humanity through this demon who now has to be human, basically. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome. So you got a little bit of like Thor in there, right? Like Thor had to become human and learn humility and learn all this kind of stuff. There's a book by Ram V. Austin, I will highly recommend it. Next time you're at the shop, you're going to walk out with it, no matter what you think. Right? It's called The Many Deaths of Layla Starr. And it's by Ram V, our good friend Ram V, and Felipe Andrade on the artwork. The artwork is beautiful, but it's about the goddess of death, right? In the Hindu mythology, the goddess of death gets fired from her job, basically, because a human has been born who's going to create immortality, right? So they just kick her out. Now she's living her life as a human, and she's coming up against this individual that she's trying to kill this dude to get her job back. If I kill this dude, then death is real again, and I can get my job back, basically. Yeah. But she comes across him at different points in his life, and she has this journey as well as he does, and it's this like really beautiful like look at grief and death and life and hope, right? Like, and it's so beautiful. I think you would really, really like it, for sure.
It sounds good.
Yeah. So you're doing everything. You're not just writing this book. You're drawing it. You're lettering it. You're packaging it. You're doing everything in this book. This is a one-person show, right?
That's right. Every bit of business and artwork and writing and scripting and contemplating. It's all a part of it.
Yeah.
And it's really fun though, trying to figure out this process, because I have to streamline it. I have to figure out how this is going to be streamlined, and I have to be open to the fact that it could very well change. Something could not work anymore. Something could not want my content on there. Like for example, if something happened to Facebook, they were like, "Oh, we don't want you on here anymore." So I have to be open to the fact that new platforms, or maybe not something even being a platform, but something outside of what we know the internet is today, could develop, and we have to adapt for that. But it's kind of like scary to have to feel like that might be the case, but it's also fun, because I'm not working I do work a 9-to-5 kind of thing, but they let me work on my comic there, so it's kind of a good mix there.
Yeah, killing
but
two birds with one stone, right?
Yeah, the hope is that I do get to be a full-time cartoonist. That might be far in the future, but at some point I would have to be living off the fact that something could crumble, and I have to be prepared to fix that myself. There's a comfort and a discomfort in that.
Yeah. What are your like influences? Like what influenced you to tell story, to draw a story, to tell a story through the visual medium? What are your biggest influences?
I've always been really interested in animations and in anything that's a cartoon. Like, it frustrated me to no end that my parents would kind of dismiss things. Like, I was watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, and as it got into season after season, I was like, my parents would probably love this if they would just consider that it's more than like a cartoon. Like, there's more to this, and just because it's a cartoon doesn't mean that I feel like cartoons and animation and different mediums like a comic have so much more basis to make you feel immersed, because it is something abstract. It's not real life. And I can watch a live action thing, and if there's some very obvious CGI going on, I'm immediately just kind of broken from it. It's very bothersome to me if that kind of immersion is cracked, because I feel like animation and comics are not going to have that problem, because it's in its own world. But some of my biggest influences, even though I hardly remembered like the show itself, I do remember fondly Gargoyles. That one was a very influential.
It's a beautiful show
thing
too,
to me.
man. Looks great.
And I just loved that concept, and I loved all the design of it and the darkness of it. Yet there was, Goliath was something of a hero, and I was always drawn to that. And then a lot of people would probably see very quickly, if they read the comic, that Attack on Titan is a huge influence to me. It's my most favorite property, and I was really enjoying My Hero Academia, but I kind of saw that it was going to go down the shonen route, where there's just going to be branches and branches and story and story, and things that kind of get disjointed because there's just so much story. That was the problem with Fairy Tail. I'm a huge weeb, so I'm just talking about weeb stuff. But
that's fine.
It was
Weebs are welcome.
Fairy Tail was so good. And then I revisited it, and there were things that were just, it's like, why didn't that ever show up again? It's like because they just needed it for this episode. They just wanted it to be a quick fix to their story so that they could get on to the next story. And that kind of thing I just get turned off by. But Attack on Titan was very, very building on top of a mystery, and nothing in the from start to finish was really irrelevant. Like almost every piece had something critical to it, and if you were paying attention, and then when you go back, it's even better. You go back and watch it again, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is brilliant. So I love Attack on Titan.
Yeah. Austin's been trying to sell me on Attack on Titan since we've met. So maybe one day. I want to grab the graphic novels, and read the mangas and stuff, because I do like manga and I do like anime. I just don't get as much into it as some other people do, right? I can only get into so much of so many things, right? But
Right.
Neon Genesis Evangelion is like my favorite thing ever. Like, I love that show so freaking much. And
I've loved what I've seen of it. I've got to finish it though, so no spoilers, but I got to finish it.
it's got a few endings, which is weird because the show ends and then we've talked about this, right? And then I need to watch the new movies. Like, I've only seen the first 2 and there's 4 of them, and they kind of retell the story, but it's not necessarily new animation, but they went back to the original materials and basically redid it and cut some things out and rearranged some things, and then for the 4th time tried to do a new ending for it or something like that. And I got the manga. My buddy Brooks is a big fan of the manga as well. He says it's really, really good. It was done after the fact, but I'd like to dive into that too. So
Yeah,
I actually just watched Shin Godzilla because it's from the creator of Neon Genesis.
Oh,
and that was a
okay.
really weird Godzilla movie, man. Really weird, man.
They tend to pump out that weird stuff. It's really cool though. They get creative.
Yeah, and I love the weird stuff. That's why I love comics, because they can get weird, more so than a movie even.
Hajime that made Attack on Titan, I can tell. I've watched approximately a season of Evangelion, but there was so much inspiration I could tell was put into Attack on Titan.
Oh, word.
Just because essentially your Titans are mechs almost, and I don't want to give away too much. You got to watch it.
Okay.
I can't let you off the hook, but there's giants, and there's these massive creatures that are humanoid and eating people, but there's a lot of visuals even in just the first few episodes where I went, oh, that's just I saw a connection between Evangelion and Attack on Titan. So I'm certain that Hajime was inspired by that as well.
Yeah, maybe we should have an Attack on Titan watch party one night. We can watch the first couple episodes or something.
Love it.
Yeah, we should totally do that. All right, so Envy #2 is on Kickstarter right now, right? And you can get to it through your website or directly, or you can just look it up on Kickstarter. We got the links all up in the description below. I actually have an image here. There it is, envycomic.com. You can go check it out. If you missed the first issue, is that something that's going to be available? Also, you said you're putting it on your socials, so plug your socials, plug your website. What's going on? Where to find it?
Okay, so I will go over my socials and then go over the tier rewards. The socials I'm primarily on are Instagram, TikTok, and Reddit. I update a little bit on X, Twitter, but I really want to just kind of focus on just a few of them because can be a lot to juggle during an update. And then Substack. Sure. I have fallen in love with Substack. If you are very interested and you're a big fan of me and you go find my Substack and subscribe, you will always be getting very direct email updates. It's not something you just kind of glance by or gets buried in other social media. So AmericanDemonComics.substack.com is where you would find me there. And then TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. American Demon Comics. I do a podcast currently with Brandon Ingram from Disney Comics, and he does wonderful comics, but we kind of talk shop as beginner comic creators. He's a writer for his. So we kind of go over that, and we talk off the wall sometimes about UFOs or Bigfoot. So it's a fun time.
Nice.
Now, my tier rewards, tier number 1 are digital PDFs of 1 and 2. That 1 and 2 carries out through every other tier reward. It just you're just going down the ladder. The next
so no
one
matter
has,
what you do, you're going to get a digital copy of number 1, so
Right.
you can catch up.
Right. And then tier number 2 has the standard issue cover of the physical copy for issue 2. And then the next tier has both standard issues, 1 and 2, physical. And then the next one up from that, instead of getting the standard issue, you get the variant that was illustrated by Adam Caswell. And I can give you his Instagram link so that you can have it up here in our description. But he's an awesome artist, makes some beautiful stuff. He made a beautiful cover, and that is Archangel Michael's face on the front of that variant cover. And then the next step up from that is the last tier, which is my standard cover, original art ink, that comes with all the steps that came with it. So the final version, the flipped versions, the penciled versions, some rejected version, and so some original art, and then plus the variant cover, plus issue 1 and the digital PDFs.
Nice. So lots of options there on Kickstarter. Y'all, I encourage you to go check it out. I have read issue number 1. Austin gave me a copy of issue number 1, and I really did like it. And then I pushed Hellboy onto you. And before we started recording, you mentioned that you were really digging it, and it was helping you kind of figure some things out, right?
Yeah. So Hellboy really kind of, and I mean, there are other comics I'm sure that could give me a leniency in those technical areas, but not only did it help with that, like there are some lettering issues with issue number 1 that I could use some work, but also the composition of how he kind of directs your eye through each panel and through the page. Yeah. It's just beautiful work. So I loved every bit of this omnibus that I picked up on Free Comic Book Day, and like I said, it has helped with lettering, it's helped with composition, and even just kind of the tone that it has.
Word. Dude, super excited to hear it. Cannot wait to see more about issue number 2, and good luck with the Kickstarter. Everybody, links in the description below. They're out in the chat. So thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. Austin, thank you for being here and joining us for this cool little conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. And looking forward to movie night, man. So
looking forward to it.
Heck yeah. All right, everybody, go check out Envy from American Demon Comics on Kickstarter right now. All right, so that's my boy Austin doing Envy right now on Kickstarter. Links in the description, links here in the chat, pinned at the top of the chat. We're taking a quick break. While we're taking that break, go over there and look at it and considering supporting my boy. We'll be right back. We're going to be talking about Taco Bell. We're going to be smoking some weed, talking about Taco Bell, Marvel in the 90s, and the Actionfest reveal. You don't want to miss it here on Rockin Robbie Live.
I so hope this part doesn't go in the video where I'm just standing here staring forwards. That'd be so embarrassing.
Hey everybody, welcome back here to Pop Culture Philosophers. In particular, welcome back to Rockin Robbie Live. I am your host, Rockin Robbie. We've had a great show already. We delivered the DC sneak peek. We talked about In a Violent Nature. We chatted with my boy Austin about his latest Kickstarter. We talked about the CBC Awards, all that stuff and more. And we still got more coming up, including the DC sneak peek, the Actionfest 2024 reveals, show and tell, and even more here on Rockin Robbie Live. Follow Pop Culture Philosophers on Facebook and on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, join the PCP Army. That's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can follow me on X over at the Rockin Robbie. You can support the channel at patreon.com/PCP, like these fine PCP patrons right there, or with the Super Chat. We have not gotten a Super Chat, which means we have not gotten a Hellboy song. Will this be the first show in months and months and months that we don't have a Hellboy song? Well, we will find out. However, all the support we need is a like, a share, a subscribe. Let everybody know that this is the happening place to be. And even though we got a grand plan and we're near the end, we're in Act 3 right now. Even though we got that grand plan, this show is driven, fueled, if you will, by your questions, your thoughts, your comments, and your concerns. So get them in right now. We're about to be smoking some weed. We're going to be talking about Taco Bell. Two of my favorite things. Smoking weed. Talking about Taco Bell. Do check out PCP Movie Night tomorrow night for our penultimate episode of Crew's Choice. Hammer Time Whole Shoes pick is up this week, and it's Oblivion. This is my first time watching this sci-fi Tom Cruise film. I cannot wait to show up and have this conversation tomorrow night on PCP Movie Night at 8 p.m. Central Time. We got Dismay Comics in the house. Bruh, when I first met Austin, he goes, "Do you know Brandon from Dismay Comics?" I was like, "Yeah, I know that motherfucker." He's like, "I do a podcast with him. He's my homie, man." So that's awesome. So I know a lot of y'all out there know and respect and love Dismay Comics. I'm sure Dismay Comics will tell you to check out Austin's Kickstarter for Envy. So there you go. I have not picked up any of the DC Compact Comics. We got some in at the shop, and I have yet to look at them. I need to grab some, and maybe next week we'll do like a little bit of a flip through or review or something like that. All right. You're not late, Dismay. You're just always right on time. That's how it is. You're here when you're meant to be here. Oh, shit. Where did that go? I just dropped something very important. We now pause for station identification. All right, crisis averted. I found it. It was my spliff that I dropped. It's a really nice one, too. Want to share this off. This thing is covered in so many, like, let's just call it dust. Look at that thing. I tried smoking some of this last night. I could barely make it through. So let's do this. This thing is coated with so much goodness, it starts dripping oil, which I love. It's an indica, which means that I'm only here for about another 30 minutes. All right, y'all. Go check out Austin's Kickstarter, pinned at the top. do try to, if you will, just threw out a link in the description. Well, there's a link in the description, but I just threw out a link in the chat. Consider nominating PCP for CBC Awards. Nominations are open right now. You can do so over at the link I just provided. And I would consider you nominating us for favorite channel, for best comic book review, for best collaboration for the monthly comic book review, best ongoing series with the weekly comic book review, best hands. Look at those hands, y'all. Beautiful hands. And also the community channel of the year, but also best live stream involving community input or involvement or participation or something like that. All right. Taco Bell. Robbie wanted to do a live stream, then he got high. Oh, that's never been a problem. All right. This stuff hits really hard. White truffle. Do you see all that shit on there? It's gorgeous. All right. Taco fucking Bell. Let's forgive Taco Bell momentarily for not having the enchilada as an everyday menu item. Let's forgive Taco Bell momentarily for not having the 7-layer burrito as an everyday item. Let's forgive Taco Bell for not having the chilito, aka the chili cheese burrito, or the double-decker taco. By the way, everything I just named, they have the ingredients to make every fucking day. And that's some bullshit, is what that is. That's some bullshit. We got a super chat. We'll get to that in just a second. But thank you, Kelvin. We'll get to that in just a second. Your 5th super chat. Nice. All right. Jesus, I thought this would go well. All right. Taco Bell, in lieu of actually giving us what we want, has decided to do something different. And they have put out the Cheez-It Tostada and the Cheez-It Crunchwrap Supreme. I love Taco Bell. I love Cheez-Its. The idea of a giant-ass Cheez-It for a tostada and for a Crunchwrap Supreme sounds really appealing to me. So I had this a couple weeks ago. It's been live at Taco Bell for a week, I think. But you could have gotten it on the app earlier. So me and my homie tried it for lunch one day at work. I was really looking forward to this. Y'all, it blows. It sucks. It sucks. It's so bad. And this is a stoner telling you that an item at Taco Bell is not good. And here's why. Giant Cheez-It, I'm down for it. In fact, you can get the tostada, say minus the toppings. So if you want to pay $2 or whatever the fuck for $2.50 or whatever for just a big ass Cheez-It, by all means, go for it, right? And I would actually like to do that, to be honest. What's going out? Maybe that's for the best. But anyway, so I love the tostada at Taco Bell. By the way, that's another thing we don't have at Taco Bell is the tostada. They have everything to make the tostada, but they won't give us the tostada on the menu. Okay, let's forgive that for a moment. The Crunchwrap Supreme is a really, really good Taco Bell item. It's really fucking good. There you go. The breakfast one in particular is amazing. Get the bacon, not the sausage. And if you can get the steak, I mean, you a high roller, brother. You a high roller. But the consistency of a Cheez-It is not the consistency of a hard tostada shell, right? Which is what gives the tostada, when they have it, its crunch, its substance. Same thing with the Crunchwrap Supreme. Now, for the breakfast one, they put a hash brown in there, impeccably deep fried, fast food wise, and it works so much for me. I rarely eat breakfast, but when I do, it's Taco Bell breakfast. There's occasionally I'll be like, fuck it, we're doing breakfast today so I can get some Taco Bell breakfast. Because I love their Crunchwrap Supreme. Or I guess it's the bacon breakfast Crunchwrap. I love that thing so fucking much. So, the Cheez-It, by nature, being a cracker, is more airy than a tostada, right? Like a tostada base or shell. Whatever you want to call it. So there's that. But then there's the idea that because of the consistency and the density of the tortilla tostada shell, it can hold up the weight of the ingredients on a tostada and hold up to the ingredients on a Crunchwrap Supreme. If you were worried that a Cheez-It wouldn't do that a Cheez-It would be too airy, like a cracker or a Cheez-It, and would absorb too much of that, and if you were worried that you would pick up that tostada and it would just fall the fuck apart, ding, 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 you were right. I had the same worry. I thought, surely Taco Bell knows what they're doing. They're going to compat this with a thinner, crispier, more sturdy and durable Cheez-It. They don't. It is literally a big-ass Cheez-It. So, if you put some Taco Bell taco meat, sour cream, cheese, lettuce, and onions, or tomatoes, I should say, on a Cheez-It and leave it there, what's going to happen? That bitch is going to get soggy. That's what happens with the Cheez-It tostada. It's also what happens with the Cheez-It Crunchwrap Supreme. There is no crispiness left from the Cheez-It. So you don't get the crunch. Crunch is the number one ingredient needed in a tostada, and especially a Crunch Wrap Supreme. Also, I'll be honest with you, the flavor of the Cheez-It. I love Cheez-Its. I like Cheez-Its just fine. Extra toasty Cheez-Its are my fucking jam. Okay? The flavor of the Cheez-It doesn't work with the flavor of Taco Bell. The flavor of Doritos, the flavor of Fritos, and I would even suspect that the flavor of Cheetos works with Taco Bell. The flavor of Cheez-Its, though, and the consistency of Cheez-Its does not work with Taco Bell. It's a valiant effort. But the Cheez-It Taco Bell collaboration is like the ambient slasher in a violent nature. Great in concept, but pretty boring, dull, and mediocre in execution. So I would rate the Cheez-It Tostada and the Cheez-It Crunchwrap Supreme a 2 out of 5 ya digs. I'm glad they did it. I'm glad they're trying something new. It didn't work this time. It doesn't always work. They had shrimp tacos. They had a seafood salad back when I was young. If that shit didn't work, they learned their lesson, move the fuck on. But here's the lesson, Taco Bell. Keep trying to innovate. Bring back more varieties of the Los, the Los Doritos, whatever. The Dorito taco, bring back the Cool Ranch and the Spicy Nacho. Doritos got a plethora of flavors. No reason we got to limit ourselves to Taco Bell. So bring back that, please. And while you're continuing to innovate and try new things with new brands, some will work, some won't. This one didn't. How about you bring back the Enchilito? How about you bring back the 7-layer burrito? How about you bring back the chili cheese burrito, aka the Chilito? How about you bring back lava sauce all the time. You have a volcano taco. We don't need red shells to know it's a volcano taco. How about just having lava sauce be one of your condiments that you always fucking have? How about that, Taco Bell? When it's fucking working, stay with it. When it doesn't work, dip it out. I love that Taco Bell innovates or tries to. This is a really cool, interesting collaboration. I thought, beyond all the evidence on paper, that it would work. It did not fucking work. It did not work at fucking all. But I appreciate the effort. However, let's criticize Taco Bell one time. Taco Bell has always been there for me. Cheap, good, fast food. Everybody does that shit. Taco Bell, you'll be regretting it in the morning. Not me. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I don't necessarily have an iron stomach, but I can eat Taco Bell and not shit myself. So I don't know what the fuck is wrong with people. Maybe you're eating the wrong fucking thing. I don't fucking know. Ground beef, not always the best option at Taco Bell. But if you do ground beef, you gotta balance it with some vegetarian options, like a bean burrito, like 2 crunchy beef tacos, but you gotta have that bean burrito. The bean, the fiber, I guess it acts against the Taco Bell curse. If you just eat a bunch of, like, let's say you ate 4 beef burritos from Taco Bell, yeah, I get it. You're gonna be fucked up. But if you ate 4 beef burritos from anybody, you're gonna be fucked up. You know what I'm saying? You gotta balance your meals there. You have a balanced Taco Bell menu. Anyway, the cheese thing just didn't work. Did not work. Did not work. Did not work. Did not like that. What do y'all think about Taco Bell? But Taco Bell's always been there for me. Cheap, affordable food. But never forget what they've taken from us. They've taken the enchilito. They bring it back. The double-decker taco, they bring it back for a limited time only. 7-layer burrito. You can still have the 7-layer burrito at Taco Bell. But the thing is, you can't just order a 7-layer burrito at the same price as, say, a Burrito Supreme. You got to order, say, a Burrito Supreme, say, no fucking meat, add rice, add guacamole. What the fuck? It's more expensive now. That's some bullshit. That's some bullshit, Taco Bell. The 7-layer burrito. You have everything that makes a 7-layer burrito available. You have everything to make an enchilito available. Everything to make a double-decker fucking taco. You telling me that I could go to Taco Bell and be like, give me a crunchy taco, and could you also give me a side of beans, and can I buy like 5 tortilla shells, like soft tortilla shells? I can make my own double-decker taco. Why is it not on the fucking menu? Like, we're not stupid. We're not dumb. Like, we get the Taco Bell menu, y'all. You got 8 fucking ingredients, and in different fucking ways you put those together, you make a bunch of different things. And why is the 7-layer burrito not there? It was the best vegetarian option. I was a vegetarian for years, which is funny because just recently I made that joke about what's the similarity between a Peach Momoko hater and a vegan. Well, it's because they'll both tell you that they are what they are. That wasn't going against veganism or anything. I was a vegetarian for fucking years. I think some people took it the wrong way. Whatever. The joke was this. Peach Momoko haters will let you fucking know. You know, like they come out of the fucking bushes. You say something good about Peach Momoko, and all these people come up. I just don't understand. I hate Peach Momoko. Yeah, bro, I get it. I get it. Some people don't like Taco Bell, too. It's okay. It's okay. Ugh. God damn. Taco Bell rant. All right, let's take a look at the chat. Carrie says, I am trying to forgive Taco Bell for unceremoniously removing the Fiesta Veggie Burrito from their menu. Remember they had that Festiva or Fiesta menu where it was like no cheese, but it was like lower calorie? Bring that back too. You have everything to fucking do it. Maybe the lean meat. Yeah, but just make chicken. I mean, it's fine. Just take the cheese off. Just take the fucking cheese off. They did have different things there, to be honest. That was a good menu, though. The Fiesta menu or whatever. Two Gun Pedro says, you can't forgive Taco Bell for the Alabama pancake. That's right. Taco Bell's here in Huntsville, Alabama, do not know how to make a fucking chalupa. I have had a chalupa in another town, and 100% they do not know how to make the fucking chalupa down here. It's bullshit. Austin says, yeah, the Crunch Wrap Cheez-It was mid. Yeah, I agree. Carrie says, it was not that great. On paper, it sounds great, but lackluster in practice. Dismay Comics says, agreed about the Cheez-It tostada, not good. I'm glad we're all on the same fucking page here. This is really important stuff to talk about. Dismay says, as long as I can still get the bacon breakfast crunch wrap with extra creamy jalapeno sauce, I'll forgive them for all their other mess ups. That's what I'm talking about. That's my fucking jam. I never thought about putting extra sauce in that bitch. That shit would be good, dude. Kit Cloud Kicker says, Taco Bell's garbage. I've never liked the Hat restaurant. Rob Liefeld said it's his favorite fast food joint. So now we got a Taco Bell hater and a Rob Liefeld hater coming in. I don't know, Kit Cloud Kicker. I don't know if you like or not like Rob Liefeld. That's another thing. Rob Liefeld haters will let you, like, Jesus Christ, y'all. I put out that Rob Liefeld Captain America video, and at first I was like, are they going to be civil in these comments? It was like, Rob Liefeld's awesome. I stick up for him. And I fucking hate Rob Liefeld. It was fucking great, dude. It was so great. It was so great. It does get too soggy in the crunch wrap. It's worse than the tostada. Choco's 26. What's up, my man? OMG, I love the Taco Bell. Me too, man. I do. Kit, it's okay. It's okay, brother. I appreciate it. I used to eat Taco Bell every fucking day, y'all. I'm not even fucking kidding. Like, there are 2 times in my life where I eat Taco Bell every day. Let me tell you about them real quick. Number 1 was like 98. The Godzilla movie came out. Taco Bell introduced the Gordita. They had Gordita Supreme, Gordita Baja, and Gordita Santa Fe, I believe. Maybe those were different, but I think those were the 3. Maybe Southwest was one. I think those were the 3. I fucking love those things. There was a Godzilla contest where you would peel a thing and get a letter. If you spelled out Godzilla, you won a lot of money or some shit, right? Well, I'm eating Godzilla Taco Bell all the fucking time. I'm trying to get everything. I got every letter but Z. Turned out Z was the odd one. Makes sense, right? Makes sense. Z is an uncommon letter to use in a word. It's in Godzilla. Make that the winning piece. I collected every... God damn, I ate so much Taco Bell. There was a period of 2 weeks. And I'm talking about... So we're talking about, I guess, the summer between my junior and senior year of high school. So right as I'm about to start senior year of high school, I'm eating Taco Bell like every fucking day for 2 weeks. Buying these gorditas. Loving them, by the way. Like, loving gorditas. I had never had anything like that. You know, I've never had... At that point in my life... 98, I'm 17. I have never had authentic Mexican cuisine, right? So a taco to me is a Taco Bell taco, right? And so like, and I love Taco Bell. And then I like the soft taco all right, mostly when it's steak, right? Like I don't mind a steak soft taco, that's fine. But crunchy beef all the way for me. This is how I am, right? I love crunchy ass fucking tacos, ground beef or ground turkey or whatever, right? Crunch is one of my favorite things. And the Gordita blew my fucking mind apart. Now they don't even have those anymore. They have the cheesy Gordita Crunch, which is one of the best things on Taco Bell's menu right now. It's a little overpriced, but it's really fucking good. But no reason we can't have just the regular ass Gordita back. I think it's better than the Chalupa. To be honest, I actually don't like the fucking Chalupa. Maybe it's because where I fucking from, Alabama, where we don't know how to make a fucking Chalupa. However, the Gordita was good. So I ate that shit all the time. And then there was a time in my 20s, earliest 20s, maybe like 25. I just broken up with like my first super serious relationship. And all fucked up over that. I remember, I'm actually younger than 25. Maybe I'm like 24, right? And I remember being like, it's all over, man. It's all over. It's never going to happen again. Never going to meet the one. So fucking stupid. If anybody's watching that's like young, just lost somebody, like as far as love, right? Or romance or something, don't fucking worry about it. If you meet, pray to the gods you don't marry the fucking person you met when you were like dating at 22. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. My personal experience, some people I know, Steven and Fee, Jim and Fee, met in high school, child, like sweethearts. Boom. It works. That shit don't work for me. Don't work for a lot of people I know in my life. So anyway, at that time, I was broke as fuck, like super fucking broke. And I sustained myself on bean burritos from Taco Bell. I would go and buy 2 bean burritos for like $2.16 or some shit, right? And just like eat like I'd fill myself up, and it kept me alive for a few years. That and Miller High Life and tequila kept me alive back in those days. And Sparks, which was like an energy drink, not beer, but it was like an energy drink malt liquor or something like that. Jesus. Dismay's really going big on that bacon breakfast crunch wrap. I agree, dude. I love that one. Choco says, I love the Chalupa Supreme and the Doritos Locos Tacos. American Demon says, me about to go get Taco Bell. Preach, Robbie. It's the crunch, and if the crunch is absent, you must convict. Hell yeah. Eddie says, extra toasty Cheez-Its are my jam too, Robbie. Station, I'm going to Taco Bell just to get a giant Cheez-It by itself. You're going to have to overpay. Just get the tostada with nothing on it. It's so stupid. Chocos loves Peach Momoko and Taco Bell. Mr. Rare Key 23 says, topic if possible, what is your personal and professional take, rule of thumb for customers and their pull list FOC as far as quantity ordered before payment? Here it is. If you want to come in day of and speculate and buy a whole bunch of shit and buy it all up, ain't going to happen at my shop. Just ain't going to happen. If a book gets hot, we limit it, 1 per person. Sometimes we're more lenient with our subscribers, even those that we know are speculators, because, you know, they're part of the industry too, and we love them. Anybody who gives us money for comics, we love. You know what I'm saying? So as a retailer, you want to order 100 copies of something, you want to spec on something, you want to order 50, you want to order 100, 200, let me buy 200 copies to get a 1 in 200. That's fine. As long as you honor that, I'm cool with that. You put it in an order before FOC, whatever it is, whatever the amount. As long as you good for it, we good for it. You know what I'm saying? We're there to make money selling comics. Now, the way to sell comics is through good comics and through people that read comics that want to collect comics more. Comics that can be even exploited into other medium, which helps fuel the speculator market, which that's a whole section. There are people that buy comics just to speculate, not read. They're part of this market. When comics are healthy, they're being utilized or exploited for other medium or other media, and speculators can get a jolt out of that, right? So if it's pre-FOC, personally and professionally, A-okay, as long as you're good for it. Outside of that, I mean, that's my opinion. That's my opinion. If you put that, here's the thing though. If you come in day of, you know a book's hot, spiking up or whatever, it's on your key collector, you go try to buy a store out, it's bullshit. You're keeping that book out of that LCS's base's hands. And so when we do limits, it's not to be like, we know you're speculating and we don't like that. It's to let everybody have the opportunity. Because I've heard the story so many times of somebody coming up to me and going, I'm dropping this book. I want to get caught up, but I wasn't subbed to it. And this book like caught on, it's sold out, and now it's like $25 online. I'm done. That's very, what's the word? I can't think of the word right now, but that's very like, it's not a good thing for a comic book reader, right? It's very disheartening. That's the word. It's very disheartening for me and for them. As a retailer, I want to be able to provide the comics people want, right? And so when something pops off like that, we do the limit so that everybody can get a copy. Because we have readers, we have collectors, we have speculators, we have all manner of shades in between. And every single one of them is a valued customer, and every single one of them is part of this comic book community. And we don't need to be pointing fingers or throwing fucking shade at any other part of this comic book industry, because this community is small enough as it is, y'all. Our job is to talk about comics. Our job is to talk about these life-changing comic book experiences. That's what we're here to do. Does anybody else miss the McDonald's jalapeno McChicken? Yeah, me too. I missed the jalapeno fucking double McDouble or whatever it was. Choco says, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Hell yeah. Have you had the chance to read Space Ghost, and what did you think of it? Somehow missed out, and Space Ghost and Coast to Coast. Missed out on Space Ghost Coast to Coast. And this book blew me away and made me a fan. Yeah, I really like the book. David Papose is a friend of the channel. Super cool dude. He is obviously have a passion. He has a passion for this project. It comes through. Jonathan Lau's artwork is dynamic. It's kinetic. The coloring is my only fault on the book. But I do think it improved after issue number 1. Issue 1 was a little bit too much of the same color. Issue 2 kind of changes that a little bit, but it kind of makes it muddy looking to me. In the first issue in particular. But I really do like Space Ghost, and it's selling very well at my shop. Dismay, I do remember the loaded potato grillers, and those were fucking amazing. I remember the Taco Bell breakfast from the mid-90s. They were testing it in certain markets. We had it here, and they had this, like, burrito. I always look it up to show people at work. Like, they think I'm such an old head because I remember Taco Bell from 1995. So fucking crazy. But it was like eggs and potatoes and sausage or bacon and like gravy and cheese. And it was so fucking good. It was like the breakfast griller burrito or something like that. Something like that. Yeah, I remember when they took away the cheesy Fiesta potatoes. They took away the spicy tostada. The 3-layer nacho. It's bullshit. What's up, James? How you doing? Ultimate X-Men is good. I like it. I like it. If you don't like Peach Momoko, though, you won't like it. That's one thing I've learned here on YouTube. Kelvin, I haven't forgotten about it. I'm sorry it took me so long. I got it on that rant about Taco Bell. Kelvin, with this $5 super chat, how about for the next top down, you show Star Wars Dark Empire Series 1 and 2. Also, who has the bud in Alabama? Who's got the herb? That's what the young girls ask me. Who's got the herb? And then the elders tell me. Who's got the herb? That's what the young boys ask me. Who's got the herb? Naughty dreadlocks. That was 311. I have never read Dark Empire, so that would be a really good one to do. I don't have them, but if I can get a hold of them, Kelvin, I will totally do that. Thank you so much for the super chat. right. Thank you so much, Kelvin, for the super chat. We really do appreciate it. It helps keep the lights on here in the studio, blue as they may be. All right, we got the Actionfest reveal coming up. But before that, it's time to go back. How far back in time to Marvel in the 90s? Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and today we're going to be talking about Heroes Reborn, Fantastic Four #2 from Jim Lee. That's right, everybody. Thanks for checking out the video. I am Rockin Robbie Billups, and today I couldn't resist. We're going back into Heroes Reborn to talk about Jim Lee's second issue of Fantastic Four. Of course, co-written, co-scripted, I guess I should say, by Brandon Choi, with inking from Scott Williams. Really solid stuff. I had so much fun going through all of the first issues of the Heroes Reborn stuff, including Fantastic Four, because Fantastic Four, my favorite comic book of all time, has been since I was a kid. Everybody was into X-Men and Spider-Man, and I gravitated more towards Fantastic Four and also Iron Man. And so it was really cool when one of my favorite artists at this time took control over both books, right? Iron Man with Will Spartacio doing the artwork there, but Fantastic Four writing and drawing. I was here for this. And what I loved so much about it, like I said in the last video where we talked about issue #1, was that it put the shine on the Fantastic Four for the first time in my life. So I started getting into comics in '86. I was young. I was like 5 years old, right? But I'm reading stuff like John Byrne's Superman. I had a stepdad who, amazing father to me, and he was in the military. He would get comics because he was into them, and he would ship them back to me. And I was reading all of these comics from a very, very early age, sneaking into his closet to get Savage Tales of Conan. But I had Fantastic Four, I had Iron Man, we had X-Men, we had Spider-Man, and we had Superman. Did I say Superman? Anyway, Fantastic Four, I loved it. I loved the Thing. I loved Mr. Fantastic. I loved the team and the family dynamic to it. And it's just a book that ever since then, I've never been out of. I've always been in Fantastic Four. Whenever I get out of anything else, I stay in Fantastic Four. This is the one book that I will buy every time it's published, no matter what. And so it was a huge deal for me to have this book all of a sudden be the talk of the comic book industry, right? And some of it was a little bit bad. Now, at the time when this book was released in 1996, I'm 15 years old. I'm not listening to those rumblings. Now, I do remember some older people at the shop that I used to go to, which was called Jennings. There were some older people back then that would say stuff like, oh, those Jim Lee, those Image guys, it's all just flashy art and there's no substance to the story. And yes, granted, that's kind of the part of it, but they also knew how to package these things and make them exciting, and they tried to task Jim Lee with doing that to the Fantastic Four and Iron Man. Rob Liefeld, of course, with Captain America and the Avengers. But Fantastic Four, to me, I love how this book as a whole is kind of paced out, right? Like all 12 issues of this run. There's 13. 13th issues are like a weird crossover and amalgamation with Wildstorm, which can obviously never be published again unless DC and Marvel start playing nice again, which they seem to be because they got the omnibuses coming out for the DC versus Marvel stuff. We'll see what happens. Oh, that's a great idea. DC versus Marvel, not just the miniseries from the 90s, but even the initial crossovers like Superman versus Spider-Man and Hulk and Batman. Like, would you like to see me go through those? I don't have the original issues, but I do have them all in collected form. But anyway, back to Fantastic Four. The way that Jim Lee knows who the major players are in the history of the Fantastic Four. The Inhumans, Black Panther, Galactus and the Heralds of Galactus, right? Mole Man, Doctor Doom, Namor. He's able to thread it all together in one cohesive story that maintains its integrity all the way through, and it continues here in issue #2. Now, we talked about how the first issue, if I remember correctly, sold about like 300,000, something like that. That's a major sales increase for Fantastic Four, maybe a little bit more than 300,000. It was the best-selling book of September 1996. In October, it slides down to number 6. You got Spawn ahead of it. You've got Spawn the Impaler ahead of it. You've got Wolverine, Uncanny X-Men, and X-Men ahead of it. X-Men's number 1. But it still has a very respectable 162,000 copies. And for Fantastic Four at that time, that's a big deal. That's a rather large number. We'll see how those numbers decline, I'm sure, over the course of the series. But enough chit-chat and let's get into it. Great cover. I love the way that Jim Lee and Scott Williams' thing here looks very, like, chisel-y, and it looks like the layers of the rock are kind of overlap. Like, usually you just kind of get the smooth thing, and you got people that just draw the lines. Kirby, at times, especially when he's inked by, like, Joe Sinnott or something like that, gives a little bit of texture and, like, dimension to it, dimensionality, and you get that here, and I really like that. But it's the Fantastic Four. It's Namor. Namor is not in his green Speedos, but he's still in a version of the classic costume, which I really, really do like. So let's dive into this book. Really cool ad right there for the SNES Marvel Superheroes War of the Gems. We played that years ago. We should probably dive back into that soon. But last we saw, the Fantastic Four had just crash landed on Earth after the explosion of the stellar anomaly. Go check out the video if you missed out. And they find out they have these crazy fantastic powers, and they get captured by the Mole Man. So the Mole Man's there. He's ranting, he's raving, he's talking about making a sacrifice to the Great One, and there's a quantum power core that's there that is leaking its energy and can blow at any moment. Now, Mole Man is planning on taking this quantum drive, this engine, and turn it into a bomb and destroy a city, right? Because he wants to exert his dominance. He wants to rule the surface world. He's just down in, it's just the typical Mole Man. He's down there with his moloids and everything. Great big splash right here. You see the Fantastic Four from behind. A little bit of a focal point on Mole Man. It could be a little bit more dynamic. It is a little bit cluttered, but it still works. It still works. You kind of got almost like a version of the Kirby dots in the shadows there of the rocks, but I like it. Johnny blazes into battle, impulsive as always. So one of the things that happens in this issue is that we get the distinct personalities of the Fantastic Four as they work together to come through, including the impulsive, hot-headed nature of Johnny. He dives straight at Mole Man, gets blasted by his energy staff, and then Mole Man's like super agile. So this is a different Mole Man, right? He's a little bit more fit. He's not just a big fat dude. Of course, it's been said that a lot of the Image guys, a lot of 90s comic book artists can't draw fat people. They just draw muscle people really big. But, I mean, Mole Man is ripped right here. And apparently very agile, jumping around. He can control not just the moloids and the monsters under the surface, but also the flora, right? The plant life as well. So he's got this plant to like swallow up Johnny, extinguishing his flame. And then they got to deal with these two monsters. And so Ben and Reed work together to handle these monsters. Ben almost gets eaten, discovers he's got super strength. Reed's super stretchy. Together, they bring them together. Bam, knock him out. Now they're going after the Mole Man. But Reed's got an idea. Because back here, the moloids are like freaking out at the flame of the Human Torch, and Reed realizes it's because they're sensitive to the light. So he gets this big diamond. He notices this big diamond, and he gets the thing to pick it up. Sue uses her powers. He comes up with the idea that since Sue can turn invisible and her clothes became invisible, she can project that invisibility out, and he says, do that and make a shaft of light. It's very difficult for her, but she does it. He hits the light onto the diamond, and it floods the cavern with light. Very sexy Storm right there. Very sexy Susan Storm right there. Reflects the light. Johnny takes off the Mole Man's visor. He gets blinded. They quickly try to make their escape with the bomb intact. They get up to the top. Reed orders, or Reed, you start realizing that Reed is the planner. Reed's the smart one. He's able to figure things out. Ben knocks the hell out of some stuff to seal up the tunnel. And then there they are, and then all of a sudden a flash of light, and bam! What happens? We cut to Atlantis. So, let's say this is your first Fantastic Four book, you never really read any Fantastic Four stuff, and you're maybe slightly familiar with certain things. Love the fact that this chick is like riding along on these two turtles. It's just so freaking funny and cool. I would have liked Atlantis to be this big double page spread, like Atlantis, like a big reveal of it. But anyway, they're just like kind of mundanely saying like, here's Atlantis. And they're talking about all these people dying. All these Atlanteans are dying because of the toxic pollution from the surface world. And Dorma's trying to tell Lord Krang, who is going to be kind of like an Atuma type figure here, right? So Lord Krang is upset. Dorma tells him to chill out. Their king is still mourning the death of his beloved. And then another dude shows up, this dude's cousin, and his woman is dying of this plague now that's part of the surface world's pollution. He grabs her and takes her to see the king, which is Namor. So you get Namor a little bit in the background, and then we didn't have a huge Atlantis reveal, but we do got a very huge and awesome Namor reveal. That is one of Jim Lee's best pieces in this issue. That is absolutely great Namor, really capturing the vibe of the character, the morose, brooding nature. His beloved, I guess his wife, his soon-to-be queen, just died from this plague, and he's doing nothing about it. He's just been sitting in grief. Love the hatching here. Love the musculature. I love everything about this page. This is Namor, from attitude and just to the look of it. It's just incredibly powerful. Really good stuff. He takes this woman who is dying and just basically is like throwing her into Namor's lap, saying, what are you going to do? A great brief moment of silence here, because as you can see, Brandon Choi cannot help himself but just fill everything up he can with as many words as possible. But it doesn't feel clunky. It doesn't feel overly bogged down. It actually feels like nice. It feels like it's easy reading, and it gives you plenty of stuff to actually read and meat to the story with the excessive dialogue and narration, but it never, I don't know, it doesn't come across like Wildcats, where it's like almost incoherent at times. And then even a brief moment here, understanding we got to slow it down. A great shot of Namor there. Another great shot of Namor that looks like so many shots of Cyclops we've seen. But anyway, I love this. So he's like throwing this woman into Namor's lap. And look at her eyes. She's just like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like dying. Stop. Leave me alone. It's like, we just talked about Kung Pao. It's like when that dude's like, stop. I have a chest wound there. It's cracking me up. But he's like, bring me my battle armor. It's time to do something. He's made a decision. He's going to attack the surface world. Then we see the Fantastic Four. They are somehow imprisoned in this cell, right? Reed recognizes the material that it's made out of and knows that Ben cannot punch through it. Johnny, impulsive as ever, starts trying to burn through it, but Reed's trying to formulate a plan. He can tell that they're being watched. They're being watched by the Countessa. That's right. This is S.H.I.E.L.D., and that's what we're building up into here. S.H.I.E.L.D. has captured the Fantastic Four. Reed covers up the window. They don't know what's going on. It's like one of the guys is on fire. All of a sudden, Johnny eventually melts through. They show up. Big ad right there. Action Man is back. Then they're coming through. Reed's like, let's get out of here. Great shot of Human Torch right there. The Thing is like, let me guess, this wall is not made out of that same stuff. So let me punch right through. So it's showing the rock-headed, impulsive nature of Ben. As much as Ben and Johnny kind of have this back and forth, they're very similar in certain aspects, which makes for an interesting dynamic between those characters. But Thing, trying to escape, has actually knocked a hole in the side of a helicarrier, and they fall right through. And then we got a missed opportunity here where just in dialogue, we get the notion that they've been recaptured. There could have been a scene here with some fallen, but you know what? We're conserving space. And even though the artwork does feel a little cluttered at times, it was not hard to read or to understand, and I actually liked all of those ticks. It doesn't have quite the magic that his early X-Men Volume 2, the relaunch in the 1991, right? It doesn't have that same energy as the X-Men book from 5 years before, but it still works, and it reads very well. Now here they are. They're being taken to the Colonel. That's Nick Fury. There's a lot of dialogue here. They're noticing that there's an attack coming at Manhattan. They're worried that it's somebody who they remember. Of course, it's Namor. We know that. But he shows up. Nick starts talking a little bit of shit to them. And Reed's like, yo, we're not your enemy. We didn't blow up the stellar anomaly. Your dude, Wyatt Wingfoot, did it. eventually, look at those boots on Nick Fury. Those are some 1990s Jim Lee techno boots right there. That is wild, fun, cool stuff. I love, and always have loved Jim Lee's Nick Fury. And I like his Dum Dum Duggan right there, too. Slims him down just a little bit, makes him more of a contemporary figure. But while they're there talking all this smack, and eventually what happens is Nick Fury, he reveals to the Four that his man, Wyatt Wingfoot, has actually betrayed S.H.I.E.L.D. and is working for someone else, and he was holding the Fantastic Four to make sure that they weren't working for him. But while all this is going on, they see confirmation that it is Namor in that badass suit right there. I love that suit on Namor. I mean, I don't mind the green scaly underwear, but that is cool too. Like, this is a really cool look for Namor. And there's Sue. Mesmerized a little bit. I always thought he was just a legend. Oh, we're already getting a little bit. Namor's available. Sue's got eyes on Reed, but, we see what's going on here. So they're noticing what's going on. A big attack that S.H.I.E.L.D. is not prepared for. They can't get the helicarrier there in time. They got ground troops, but it's not going to work. And then Susan says, Namor caught you with your pants down, didn't he? And now you need all the help you can get. So Nick Fury goes, I see why your old man put you in charge of the family business. Why? Because she stated the obvious, but you know what? Give Sue her power. Give her credit where it's due. So they get sanctioned by S.H.I.E.L.D. to go and try to stop this invasion from Atlantis, led by Namor. They put on their S.H.I.E.L.D. suits. These are typical standard issue S.H.I.E.L.D. suits. But Susan takes off the S.H.I.E.L.D. emblem and using some electrical tape or something, makes a 4, redubs them to Fantastic Four. Johnny comes up with the idea to have a marketing gimmick. They need superhero names. Ben's like, of course you're going to think about that loud stuff. And then we cut to New York City. This could have been a bigger... I mean, he's got a lot of story that's being told in these pages. If you take a look at Wildcats, where very little actually happens each issue, and you're kind of confused by it, and you have to kind of piece it together over time as a whole, in those initial 4 issues is what I'm talking about. Here he's actually getting a lot of story done. Probably because at this point there's 35 years of Fantastic Four history to pull from and integrate together. So you got to do a lot. Like, you end the Mole Man stuff here, you go right into S.H.I.E.L.D., right into Namor, and it harkens back to when Kirby and Lee were really at their best on Fantastic Four. They were having stories that were beginning in an issue and ending in another issue and another story beginning. They were doing that. The Galactus saga is kind of like that, right? So they go after Namor. Ben jumps in first, takes Namor like an idiot, straight underwater. Fool! You've just sealed your doom. The ocean is my domain. So they still haven't surfaced. There's a big fight. He knocks the shit out of Thing, takes him out of the water. He goes, you know what? I was just going to use my shock troops, but now that you brought in some superpowers, I'm bringing in some superpowers. Behold, the great whale Giganto, a monstrous creature spawned by that very poison that you have so recklessly discarded into the waters of the world. On this day, his vengeance will not be denied. So there's Giganto, a giant mutated whale coming after the Fantastic Four. That's the end of the issue. Big, great splash here. Next, the Avengers. I may have been a little bit critical about some of the... Everything's kind of pushed together, but it actually works. Like I said, there's a lot of story through here, and it's still, even today, for me, and I know I'm an uber fan of Jim Lee as well, more so of the Fantastic Four, but I love Jim Lee too, so of course I'm an uber fan. I used to love this stuff back in the day. This was the first time I really started paying attention to Deadpool, was that image right there. I think it's Ed McGuinness. This is a interview they're having with Joe Kelly, I believe, about his Deadpool run that's starting up. So that's cool. And then, I don't remember what that is. It's one of those painted comics. They did the series of painted comics back in the day. Star Trek, the card game, that's pretty cool. Project Overkill. And we got letters pages. One of these letters is from somebody named Chris Burnham, who just said, you guys did Stan and Jack proud. I don't know if that's the Chris Burnham, who's an artist today, but that would be really cool if it is. If I ever meet Chris Burnham, I'm going to ask him, did you send in a letter to Fantastic Four for Jim Lee? Millennium, the Chris Carter series, the creator of X-Files. I never watched that series. Was it good? Anyway, I really like this issue. I'm liking this series. I want to keep going through all the Heroes Reborn stuff, but I am definitely going through all the issues of the Fantastic Four because this has been so much fun to revisit. I haven't read these in years. I'm always kind of rereading Fantastic Four, and right now, over the last few years, over the last like year or two, it's kind of scaled back a little bit. And I've just kind of been meandering around reading the Lee and Kirby stuff here and there, but it's been such a treat to go through this. Like, I love the Namor. I'll tell you what, each issue has got their shot, right? And the shot in this one is that right there. First of all, this is the great spread. This is awesome. Also, like, notice how his necklace is floating up, his hair's floating. They're trying to make you feel like they're underwater. And so there's a little bit more swimming and things like that. But one thing I hate, because I'm an Aquaman fan as well, I don't like it when people stand in the water, like underwater cities when they're standing or sleeping in a bed or even sitting in a chair. Of course, it's a throne and it's cool, so why not? But this is the 2 pages of the issue. And the last one, it was the one with Thing and Susan's butt. But this one, so freaking solid. I had a lot of fun with this. What are your recollections of Heroes Reborn, Fantastic Four in Heroes Reborn, Jim Lee on Fantastic Four, or just in general? What do you want to chat about? Let's keep this conversation going down below. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and join us over at patreon.com/PCP if you want to help support the channel. I've been Rockin Robbie Billups. Thanks for rocking with us. Keep on reading, y'all. Station. Yeah, going through Heroes Reborn has been super freaking fun, y'all. I've had so much fun going through that, and I have all of issue 2's filmed, and now I guess I'll be going into issue 3's coming up, but those will be released. You know, we just released Captain America and Fantastic Four #1 on the channel. You get the early looks here on Marvel in the 90s. All right. We're about to get into the Actionfest reveal. Some people were here 3 hours ago, or over 3 hours ago, wanting to see this, but here it is. Regardless, Actionfest starts July 1st and continues every Monday night in July here for PCP Movie Night, Monday night at 8 p.m. Central Time. We're kicking it off July 1st, 8 p.m. Central Time on PCP Movie Night with the Die Hard franchise. All 5 Die Hard movies will be discussed to kick off Actionfest 2024. The following week, we're talking RoboCop, y'all. This is a fan favorite of many people here in the Excitable PCP crew, and I cannot wait for this conversation. The week after that, Last Action Hero. I have not seen this movie since I first saw it on VHS, right? I saw it in the theater, then I watched it on VHS. I haven't seen it since. Very excited to revisit this one. I think it's quintessential action. And then we're finally doing it, y'all. Blade. Blade for the penultimate episode of PCP Actionfest 2024. You know I'm ready for this. I will watch that shit on VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray in preparation for this movie stream. I'm so excited. And we're ending it with the Dark Knight trilogy. That's right, Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises. That's our grand finale of PCP Actionfest 2024. Then a 2-week break, and then we're on to Horrorfest. So to repeat, July 1st, Actionfest 2024 starts here on PCP Movie Nights, Monday nights, 8 p.m. Central Time. It kicks off with the Die Hard franchise. After that, we're talking RoboCop. After that, Last Action Hero. After that, Blade. It's a long time coming, y'all. It's time to talk about this movie. And we're ending Actionfest with the Dark Knight trilogy from Christopher Nolan. Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and Batman Rises. I hope you get ready for the explosive nature that will be unlocked and revealed on PCP Movie Night Actionfest 2024, starting July 1st. So there it is, everybody. Actionfest 2024. And honestly, I think it's the best Actionfest lineup that we've done so far. So I'm very excited to dive into it. Though we still have, coming up, 2 episodes of Crew's Choice continuing tomorrow night on PCP Movie Night, 8 p.m. Central Time, Oblivion. This is Hammer Time Holshoe's pick. This is my first time watching it. I rather enjoyed it. I'm excited to talk about it. But Actionfest is going to be dope, y'all. And I think I did a good job with the thumbnails, honestly. And kudos to Mike for designing, as usual, our banner logo for Actionfest. I like the colors. I like the font. Mike outdid himself yet again. So there's Actionfest, y'all. And then after that, 2-week break, Horrorfest. Horrorfest will be announced in about a month to you out there in the public. Right now, we have sent the list out to the first wave of panelists to see what they want to jump in on, and then we'll send it to the second wave, then the third wave, and then we'll share it with the patrons. We'll share it in the PCP Army, and then we'll share it here on Rockin Robbie Live with you in about a month. Horrorfest is going to be dope, y'all. I won't say that the PCP lineup, I don't know what Verno and Dylan have settled on yet. I won't say that the PCP lineup for Horrorfest this year is the best lineup we've ever had. Honestly, I think we've done better. As far as just bangers. But I wanted to do some stretching this year. I wanted to continue some traditions, such as having an Argento film, such as having a Japanese film, such as having something that I loved when I was a child that the rest of the panel will probably fucking hate, and trying to really also do some really gnarly, at times transgressive films. A little bit more bold this year. May not be the best year, like the best lineup as far as just banger after banger after banger, though we have bangers, y'all. We have bangers, okay? Trust me. We have some major bangers for Horrorfest. However, I do think it's the most bold list that we've done on PCP yet. Two Gun Pedro lives for Horrorfest. Two Gun, I'll send you the official list, just so you can see it, because you're worth it, brother. You're Blue Wrench to me all day long. All right, time for show and tell. I finally got my copy of Witchman from Tom Scioli. This was a Kickstarter he did, inspired by like Golden and Silver Age heroes. He did the Jack Kirby, Stan Lee stuff. He wanted to create a classic superhero in that vein. He created Witchman, a hero who is powered by the occult powers of the witch. And it's very pulpy and old school. And I fucking loved it. It's beautiful paper stock. The paper is so fucking thick. It's like amazing. And it's Tom Scioli doing what Tom Scioli does. And it's really cool to see his art style kind of morph and shift and change. But the storytelling is there. The passion is there. And I had so much fun with this book. Oh, here's a great page. Here's a great spread. Look at that, y'all. And everything done by Tom Scioli. This was a well worth the wait for me. It didn't take that long, right? Less than a year. But man, I'm so happy to have this. And I've read it, and I really like it. All right, our good buddy over at Superhero Awesome Comics, Chris CP, found this for me out in the wild. He always hooks me up with some great toy deals. He finds stuff. He knows I want it. He'll pick one up and let me just give him some cash for it. But here we got the Sewer Sports All-Stars, TMNT. That's the Michelangelo. It's Skateboarding Mike. I never had this as a kid. I love these reproductions. Here's the thing. All these vintage toy lines we know and love, How about you do what Turtles is doing? Cheap, affordable reproductions of the original toy line. Notice the key words were cheap and affordable. So even though Hasbro does their vintage Transformers line, they don't do it like Playmates does. These are cheap and affordable. This was like, what, $10? $9? Something like that. Amazing. Traded in some stuff at the shop to get some recent Transformers that I wanted to have in my collection, including Brawn from the Studio 86 series. Gotta have a Brawn. I was going to get the previous Brawn from, like, I don't know, Titan's Return or something. I don't know what it was. Some line. There was a smaller one, but I opted to get this one. Very excited for that. And this one's been sitting in my stack for work for a minute, so I went ahead and picked this one up. But I finally got my Snarl Dinobot. Now I just need to get my Sludge, and Swoop is on the way, and then we'll have all 5 Dinobots. So I got a Snarl. So Jamie, lovely Jamie, got me this poster. We were having a conversation. I shared a theory and a desire, and she fulfilled that desire. So for my bedroom, she got me this poster of Rob Lowe. Did y'all see that shit? This is a picture of 80s Rob Lowe. Now, the conversation we were having was about the Lost Boys. And my theory was Joel Schumacher was a gay man. But my theory is that Corey Haim's character, Sam, in the movie is gay. Or at least bisexual. He's very fashionable. He's got a poster of dreamy-ass Rob Lowe in his room. You dig what I'm saying? So I was discussing that theory, and I said, so there's a piece of me that's always wanted a poster of Rob Lowe for my bedroom. So Jamie got me one. So how fucking dope is that? Yep, Rob Lowe. I'd love some Jim reproductions. I would fucking buy them if they did a cheap, affordable Jim reproductions. I never had Jim action figures when I was a kid. I just loved the fucking show. And I unabashedly loved that show. But I never had any of the toys, but I never had a desire to get the toys because I was always trying to get Thundercats or Silverhawks or Motu or something like that, right? Like, when I was a kid, I didn't really actively collect Transformers or G.I. Joe. I was into G.I. Joe and Transformers, more so Transformers, and I had a couple of Transformers. And then in the 90s, I got into some of the G2 stuff when I actually could get some, but I was more into Turtles and shit, too. You know what I'm saying? In the late 80s and the early 90s, it was Turtles, Toxic Crusaders, and Ghostbusters. Like, I loved those toys. But back in the mid to late 80s, it was like Motu, Thundercats, Silverhawks. Those were the ones that I was like super into. Secret Wars and Superpowers as well. So those are the ones that I try to recollect. Like all my Superpowers are lined up right there with the Iron Man dragons. But yeah. So I just want I think I want my bedroom to look like an 80 kids fucking wet dream. So I got this, Jamie had gotten me years ago, which we unveiled live with Bueller when he was in town. But this really super sexy Linnea Quigley poster that I got to get that framed. Now I'm going to get the Rob Lowe framed. I need to get an Elvira. And I think I might want to get, I don't know, what else? Like a Barbara Crampton or like a Nightmare Sisters one. Kelly Maroney, something like that. Something for the bourgeois. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be like an 80s wet dream in my bedroom is the idea. And that's where my Turtles and Transformers figures are. Will be when I get these more. I'm getting some shelves. Whatever. That's personal stuff. We'll get into that at a later date. All right, now it's time for your official Final Five. Oh yeah, Jonathan, Battle Beasts, but also Supernaturals. I was so into Supernaturals and Visionaries. Supernaturals even more so, though. I thought those were way more cool and way gnarlier. All right. First up, we're on card 96. This is the end of the Marvel Masterpieces. Weapon Omega. This was a newer edition at the time. I don't know if this is necessarily a rookie card, but it is a newer edition at the time. Here's a card I love, because I love seeing a classic painting artist like Joe Jusko do somebody who's new and gnarly like Venom. But there's our Venom card. If you notice on the back, they show his first appearance. It's $2.99, but they show his first cover appearance there, which is a really cool McFarlane image. McFarlane's got a new toy license. He can do non-posable action figures. So, like, they're basically like toy statues. But I hope he does that cover. That would be dope. Then we've got Ultron. Very similar to the Venom, right? Very similar to the Venom. Just kind of villain out there in fucking space. This is a dope-ass card. Tombstone. And it's the last card of the set, actually. Because the official last card is the checklist. Now I have some of the special cards, but a bunch of them have been misplaced. I showed off a couple the other day. Oh, that's the wrong one. Where did they go? I don't even know where the fuck those ones went. Oh, what's here? All right, here's one I got. There's the Wolverine versus Sabretooth. All the special cards were like foily. Right? Were they all foily or were they like holofoil? No, they're just foily. They were like chromium or whatever like this, right? But they were all battle cards. These other ones are not though. Oh, there's the, yep, and there's the Spider-Man versus Venom. They're all shiny, foily. There's a Fantastic Four Mole Man. I have that one. There's Captain America Red Skull, I think. No, it's Thing and Hulk and Silver Surfer and Thanos. And Captain America versus Red Skull. What's the Fantastic Four one? Maybe that's in Wave 1. I got these all out of order and shit. Here's some of my ones from... I think these are Marvel Series 2. There's my Hulk. I love these foil shits. Did y'all see that? Is that... You seen that? This is the Punisher. How cool is that shit? And this one is Dr. fucking Doom, y'all. There we go. How fucking cool. How cool is that shit? I got to get all these cars together. But that's my Marvel Masterpieces. Next up, I think we're going to go through my fucking DVD collection. Because, like, what DVDs have I held on to over these years? I got rid of a lot, right? You know? So that'd be fun and interesting. All right, don't forget, Oblivion tomorrow night on PCP Movie Night. And Actionfest is going to be dope as hell, y'all. After Oblivion, we're doing Collateral for the finale of Cruise Choice. Then immediately on July 1st, drop into Actionfest with the Die Hard franchise, followed up by RoboCop, followed up by Last Action Hero, into Blade, long time coming on that one, and the Dark Knight trilogy. And that is Actionfest 2024. All right, y'all, we're dipping out. We love you. Station, thank you so much for rocking with us. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the love. Don't forget, 20K giveaway. Comment on this video. As soon as it wraps up, just drop a comment, not in the chat, but as a comment after the fact. Comment on every video we drop. It advances your chances to win the 20K giveaway here on PCP. All right. On behalf of everybody, we love you. Be excellent to each other and party on, dudes. Station, pop, pop, boom. We're dipping out.